I click start. Hopefully it started. I'm not gonna actually expect that it started until chat says so. What's up, chat? Let's hear you say watermelon. If I see watermelon in the chat, I know we're live, and we start talking cool crypto stuff. I don't see watermelon in the chat. I
No
think I need
watermelon.
work to do. Yeah, it's like a 30-second delay because I'm streaming 4K.
Okay. Live. There we go.
I'm not believing it until I see the magic word, man. Yeah, all right, we're good. Hello, everybody. We've got proof we're live. It looks like I don't know. There's like a 20-second delay or something.
Holy, that's a lot of watermelons.
Dude,
We need emojis. Proof of
this
emoji.
this video is going to rank extremely well for watermelon because of the 1,000 watermelons I just saw in chat. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Hope you enjoyed your 5% pump up and 5% pump down and 4% pump back up again in 2 minutes, 3 minutes on Bitcoin a couple hours ago. That was fun. Bart's
Wow.
up, Bart's down all day long. This is Juan Galt. I first saw Juan Galt when he was on a video interview, I think at Anarchapulco last year with Roger Ver and a lot of other Bitcoin OGs. And I liked what he had to say and the way he carried himself, and thought it was a pretty cool dude. And he just happened to message me and be like, "Yeah, you want to do an interview?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." There's not that many people I actually would like to do an interview off the top of my head. So, yeah, what luck. You
Cool.
want
Thanks
to?
for having me. Yeah, I've been seeing your show all over the place for a while, and it's really interesting what you're doing. BitcoinHEX. I mean, that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today, and it's I'm able to wrap my head around it, but I'm starting to get it, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. And yeah, you're killing it, man. Thanks for having me
Thanks,
on.
bro. Thank you. Um, so you guys, we like the likes, we like the subscribes, we like the everything you can do before you forget at the end of the video. Do all that stuff. Tell people about the vid. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't send my subscribers the broadcast notice. So like click the bell, hope that they run their thing right.
Hmm.
What do you want to talk about, Juan? You wrote a little sheet of stuff you thought might be cool to talk about. I put
Hmm.
in the description that we would talk about BitcoinHEX
Hmm.
and OPSEC, how to not
Yeah.
get your coin stolen.
Yeah.
But we can talk
Sounds
about
good.
anything. I'll go as
Yeah.
many hours as you want.
Cool. Well, why don't we start with maximalism? Let's talk a little bit about that because it's
Sure.
yeah, it's a topic that on Twitter it's like a flag that everybody waves,
Mm-hmm.
and that's cool, and I understand it in many ways. But there's also been some recent tensions, right? So I don't know if you saw like Satoshi Light, Mr. Litecoin, and Tone Vays got into a little scrap, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
Satoshi Light and the magical crypto friends have their own show and they're talking about things. And I don't know if there's any like, it's just Twitter drama,
Well,
but
half the magical crypto friends founded cryptocurrencies, so
yeah,
it's like
yeah. I mean, so we have I think it's like the CTO of Blockstream, CEO of Blockstream, what's his name, Samson Mao.
yeah.
Um, I'm not sure exactly
He's
what his
he's
Blockstream
not
title is.
technical. He's just marketing, public relations.
Yeah, yeah, public relations, and he's been talking a lot about Bitmain and stuff. He's cool. As CSO of Blockstream, and
I wonder what the S
then
stands for.
I don't know,
Science? I don't know.
chief social media officer.
All right.
And then we
So
got
what you want to give? You should give your opinion first? Well, I don't know.
yeah, I'll give my opinion. Yeah, sure. So my take right now is like the way that I understand and think about maximalism is Bitcoin maximalism is that it's a pragmatic belief. So in theory, if you had all the time in the world and all the brain power in the world, you could go through every altcoin and analyze each one of them and on the fundamental analysis and like try to like predict which one's going to moon and win whatever race we're playing. And that theoretically, but like no, we're not there. We're mortals. We're scarce brain and we don't have that much time. And so Bitcoin is the best bet by most means as far as like certain things, right? Like store of value and maybe currency in the future once we stabilize and reach sort of bigger mass adoption. And we can talk about that. But and so that's Bitcoin is pragmatically better, like because we can't calculate all the possibilities. And so that's one. And the other one is that there's like 90 something percent of the altcoins are scams, like guaranteed. And they're either like intentional scams or they're scams that don't know that they're scams.
Could be.
And those happen when people are like, they're just naive about things. And that's fine. They're experimenting and it's a new space and there's a lot of opportunity and potential. And maybe 90% of them are scams, maybe 95%, something like that. We don't know. And so to me, like, it's better to be careful with new things, but that doesn't mean that there's not other things that are interesting. So again, like Monero, best privacy in the game, even if it's not necessarily going to go up like Bitcoin as far as store of value, because of that great point you've been making, which is that store of value is a much better, it's actually much more valuable than payment networks, right? And we don't even know what an anonymizer, like a cash, like digital cash anonymizer is worth. Maybe it's something along the lines of payment network, but it's certainly not going to be store of value grade value. But it has its utility, and then I think Namecoin is good because Namecoin lets you do authentication of like HTTPS and certificates for websites, and you can have a domain name when it's like completely censorship resistant, and is merge mined by Bitcoin's proof of work, so it's fairly good. And so like there's a few cases, right? And so I think we can say that Bitcoin isn't the only animal of its kind that's useful, but we can also say that most of them are, they may not go anywhere, and they're not necessarily, the risk is maybe too high, or it's impossible to analyze them all, and so it's better to be conservative when this. That's how I think about it.
All right, so. I'm gonna go so deep on this that I lose half of you guys. So cool. Get ready. A lot of people think that things are paradoxes, but they're actually not, because we have an order of operations. So how do I give this example? You might think that being a Bitcoin maximalist would increase the price of your bag of Bitcoins because people won't waste their money buying all of these scams. If you think that, like I did, you are wrong. Took me a while to figure out I was wrong. Take you a while to figure out you were wrong. And I'm going to explain how the timing of it makes you wrong short and medium term and right long term, when you're probably already wrecked and sold the bottom and don't give a fuck anymore. So here's what that example looks like. Cryptocurrencies are not used as currencies today. No one accepts them. Nobody. 4 out of the top 100 retailers accept crypto. A lot of ATMs that used to exist, they don't exist anymore. A lot of Bitcoin companies that hired big teams have fired their big teams. Search volume, dead. Price, dead. Most altcoins down 95%. Bitcoin down 85%. Now, if you got in at 30, when I did, or slightly earlier, depending on what part of my stack you want to look at, I don't give a fuck. 3,000 is pretty nice. This isn't that bad. But if you got in at 15K, the 3,000 seems pretty shitty to you, right? And a lot of like people like me that have been retired since 2003, I can hold. I can just keep holding, right? Oh, I can wait for the next bull run. I can wait 5 years, whatever. I don't think it'll take that long. I think it will take maximum 1 year. And if BitcoinHEX works, it might go a lot quicker. Because people have a reason to buy the Bitcoin, which right now, if you think about it, what do you really need to buy Bitcoin for? What do you need to buy Bitcoin for? Nothing. Maybe if you want to transact on the darknet markets, if you can find one and get an invite and not get scammed and not get busted and not die, like, okay, all those things work out and you get your darknet thing and you had to buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Okay, so there's an actual use case where you have to buy Bitcoin. Is there any other use case where you have to buy Bitcoin? Yep, if you want to buy shitcoins. Now, what gets sold more, shitcoins or darknet? Shitcoins, by a lot. There's just, like, when you buy in the darknet, you get a pretty good bargain. You can only use so much of that crap. So for personal use, you can only throw, what, a couple grand a year in there or something? I'm not an expert on it. But for speculation, you could throw hundreds, millions of dollars a year into something. So shitcoins are actually the primary use case for anyone buying Bitcoin in 2017, which is why Ethereum went up farther, faster than Bitcoin did. People that bought Ethereum when it started made more than people that bought Bitcoin early 2011 when I did. And they did it faster. And that super pissed me off because I saw a lot of problems with the project. And I was wrong. It turns out that my model for evaluating the value of a cryptocurrency was based on its security, its number of wallets installed, the number of Reddit users it had, the lack of people getting hacked using it, the smaller attack surface so that it would always be attacked less, all of these things. I thought that is what made things valuable. But it turned out that in 2017, what made things valuable was the new money that hadn't already blown their wads buying Bitcoin. So in the beginning, remember I told you we were going deep? This is how deep we're going. All right, so I'm just going to give you some breadcrumbs so we can track back how we got here. So I said paradoxes don't usually actually exist. They get broken by analyzing time. And so something like a statement such as, if I stop these noobs from buying shitcoins, my Bitcoin bag will go up, is true short and midterm, false long term. It's both true and false. It depends on what frame of time you're looking at it, right? So in 2017, Ethereum went up higher and faster, and it was because everyone was buying it because there were new purchasers that hadn't been exposed to crypto before. There were kumbaya, soy developers, Silicon Valley guys that weren't libertarian, that weren't anarcho-capitalist, that weren't anti-government, a completely different mindset of people who probably is as well-funded or more on a per capita basis than the hardcore silver bugs and gold bugs. They came in, and it was the reason, and they saw how big the Bitcoin pump was, so it was even easier to sell them on that. So the price difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum had nothing at all to do with the technology whatsoever. It had everything to do with how many people hadn't bought in yet that left a giant pool of speculative capital to dump in quickly, right? Combined with the FOMO of, okay, institutions are finally going to get in. And that just pushed everything up. So if you bought Ethereum in middle of 2017, you did better than buying Bitcoin in the middle of 2017. Now, if you held your Ethereum past January of 2018, you did worse, right? So it was both a better and worse investment depending on when you got in and when you got out. So this concept that Bitcoin maximalists have, that if they could just kill all the shit coins, Bitcoin would be doing so much better, is 100% false. 100%. The only immediate buys done to get the general public interested in crypto were scammy shitcoin ICO garbage media buys. They're the only people that have the margin to overcome the tragedy of the commons. They're the only people that can make enough profit on a new user to afford buying an ad to bring on a new user. Bitcoin is fucked. We can't afford to bring on new users because no one has enough of a stack to gain enough of a percentage, right? So let's take my stack, right? I bring on a new user. How many dollars did I make? Not many, right? Because I got to pull up the weight of all these other dead people who aren't buying ads. And it's undoable, which is why you don't see Bitcoin ads on television, right? So if you want to get people into crypto, they need to come in for the shit coins, get wrecked, see the gains on paper, get destroyed, and then be like, oh, fuck, I should have bought Bitcoin. That's still got some value, right? So in the short and midterm, maybe even the long term, depending on which parts you're looking at, shitcoins are the only reason that Bitcoin pumped the way that it did in 2017, because it sure as fuck was not adoption, sure as fuck was not wallets installed. It was none of the fundamentals that you would want to see the project doing well on, right? Now let's look at the progress the Bitcoin network has made since I got in 2011 until now. We got HD wallets, we got multisig, we got SegWit, which allows us to screw with Lightning, which isn't here yet, right? There's $1.5 million of capital in Lightning, maybe $2 million after the price bump today. That's not a lot, right? It's still beta software. What else can you do with it? The whole Bitcoin network really is just like send, receive, or mine. No one even uses all those other things. Not many. If you at home, the user, go into your Bitcoin wallet, you are not using multisig. Maybe if you're using a hardware wallet, maybe if you're using green address and set up some special rules. But for the most part, these things that I'm calling features, I'm being very generous about. The concept that Bitcoin just, you can send it, receive it, or mine it, that's about all we got, right? Now, what else did we get? We got a narrowly avoided inflation bug that would have been terrible. Somebody could have printed as many coins as they wanted and broke the 21 million coin limit, right? And we avoided it by this much because a Bitcoin Cash developer found it. That ain't great. That's not great. So the moral of my story here is you can be technically right and price wrong. You can be price right and price wrong at the same time, which is why every single price prediction you give or get from anyone else has to have a time component, or you will be right and destroy your followers, right? I told a lot of people not to buy Ethereum back when it was very cheap, and I was wrong, right? And I told you why I was wrong.
Yeah.
Every bad thing I've ever said about Ethereum, I leave those essays up because they're still accurate. You can route around those problems if you're smart, but I'm not going to pretend they're not there. So maximalism is the ignorance of the difference in benefits and drawbacks to every system. Every system has them. And to pretend that one is ultimately better is fucking like very stupid.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't go that far. I think again, like, because it's a problem, right? I don't want to, like, I don't care if that's the path that people take, right? If the reason people are getting into Bitcoin is because they go to speculate on some altcoins, and then they make some money, they get wrecked, and they come to Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. That's fine with me, but I don't want to be the guy telling them to go get wrecked on the altcoins, right? Like, somebody's got to put their face on it and pump it, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to be that guy. I'd rather be the guy that said, see, I told you to buy Bitcoin. And what I do think is, like, I do want to help people keep their private keys and protect their shit in this sort of internet wilderness. And that's one of the things that I like to do. But yeah, so that's why I say that it's pragmatic, right?
So you should probably, you have to upgrade your advice and break it into two parts. Technically, these coins are dog shit. They have no reason to exist. They have no adoption. They have bad teams. They have bad security. They have no audits. Everything that is bad, everything that could possibly be bad, it's the wrong thing to do, done by the wrong people at the wrong time in the wrong way, at the wrong price point with too much dilution. Like, everything possible is wrong. However, people are fucking stupid, and they will buy this shit into the sky, and you will watch the price pump outdo any gains you've ever seen in your entire life. And then the unlucky bastards at the end will lose it all, but the people that were in at the beginning will get insanely retardedly rich, right? And then if you give them both of those components and you say, listen, technically it's horrible, but if you short a shitcoin, you will go broke, right? Because someone that locked up the supply will just buy from himself and pump that price up until you're fucking liquidated. Like, the world is not fair. You can't short shitcoins. Like, it's dangerous, right? And even if you shorted Ethereum from $1,400 down to zero, you made $1,400 on your $1,400. But what if you just waited for it to fucking bottom out at zero and bought $1 worth? You would have, and it went back up to $1,400. You made the same $1,400 on $1, which means you could have made 1,400 times more money by putting in your whole $1,400 by buying the bottom instead of selling the top, right? So every long and short equals out, not including fees. So if a long made $1,000, the short lost $1,000. However, in order for the short to lose the 1,000, he had to put in 1,000. Like, you have to pay a lot more to make money shorting than you have to make money longing. So,
gotcha.
Like, to make the same money, you'd have to be right twice. It would have to drop all the way down to where you guessed and then go back all the way up to the top again, and then you'd both make the same money percentage-wise.
Yeah, so, you know what's fascinating? Well, most people in the world are not, they're nowhere near the level of of education that we're talking about as far as financial sort of literacy. Like they're most people are financially illiterate, practically speaking. They go through school, the school is shit. They go through university, specialize in one thing, go to work, and then expect a 9 to 5 for the rest of their lives and hopefully retire. Like that's more or less the standard track, even today, even with the internet. And so people don't, and especially in the United States, like the accredited investor sort of rules prices out a huge amount of people. And so maybe crypto is the role that it's playing, whether we like it or not, is just a massive education in financial literacy. And that's the game. And people go in and play with their money, and the best win and the worst lose. And there's the opportunity to make real money. I'm not justifying it, but like that's basically what it is. And I honestly like, you know,
But
I
those
don't
are
like the
opposite
fraud.
positions. Those are opposite positions. So if you don't like shit coins because people are getting scammed, then you have to understand that the security laws only exist to prevent the legalized version of those shit coins from scamming. So like what exactly is so fucking wrong with having to disclose conflicts of interest or give people time to do things or make, you know, like the security, it's so easy for libertarians and anarcho-capitalists to talk about how shitty laws are because the laws have been doing a good job at removing all of the examples that if you remembered them would let you know why we have those laws in the first place. So it's very easy for people to say the government is useless and police are useless and everything would be perfect if we got rid of all that shit until you go someplace where it's been gotten rid of or it gets rid of where you live. And then you have to file as a fucking refugee and flee the country because then you're like, oh, actually, no, people are pretty fucking brutal and left to their own devices, this shit can go real wrong. Like Russia used to be a superpower. Now they're less than 7% the GDP of the United States. How do you think that happened? Is it because they don't have enough land or resources? No. They have more gas in the United States. They have fucking like twice the land. They're like a sixth of the entire global land mass, 1/6 of it, right? Their country got fucked because their system got fucked. If your system is fucked, you and all of your nice, happy, good people will get fucked, right? Like you can't throw away the best system that mankind has ever found, which is capitalism for wants and socialism for needs. There's a lot of countries on this planet that do better than America does in almost everything, but people don't want to admit it, right? They don't want to be like, oh, look, Japan has zero gun deaths and almost everywhere has zero gun deaths. Well, we have people shooting up concerts from elevated positions a few hundred meters in the air with 12 to 1,400 round bounce stock M16s or equivalent. Some of them could fire more than one type of ammo. So that shit doesn't happen most places, right? And he bought all those guns legally. But we can't fix it. It's unfixable. Like we just can't, no one else has got it figured out. And if we tried to fix it, it just wouldn't possibly work. Well, it worked in Australia. They had a guy that had a big fucking shootout. He was armored up with armor and shot a lot of people. And then they were like, all right, fuck all this gun stuff. And they just got rid of all the guns. And then they don't have that shit anymore. They don't have school shootings ever. Never. Well, it worked for them.
Well, yeah, the government is really top heavy, right? Like the government in Australia. I mean, I don't know.
No,
See,
it's not.
like
I lived in Australia.
we could talk
No,
about
it's not.
right? Like they have pretty heavy surveillance. I hear taxes
No, they don't.
pretty high. I mean, you know, they
They
don't.
don't have heavy surveillance. No, because they don't have much crime. They have fucked up laws on key disclosure, which they just passed. They have fucked up laws on crypto. They've got, you know, some fucked up laws, but for the most part, like, who do you think's doing more surveillance of you? The NSA or some kangaroo folk? Like, there ain't no fucking comparison, right? Like, you're being spied on by the NSA and a whole shitload of other people, like, constantly. Like, their society runs very, very fucking well. There's the branch of science called sociology that studies this shit, and it's all they do all day long is trying to figure out who's winning the game, who's getting better outcomes for their citizens, and America is not leading the charts in most of these things.
Yeah, they're not. But I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we could discuss as to why they're not doing that well, and I think there's some evidence that they're doing better now, and it may be because of Trump or it may be because of a variety of things. And again, I'm actually interested in this discussion. We could have it, but it's a discussion that would take multiple
Yeah,
hours.
you're right.
I do think
We'll
that
save it for later.
yeah, I mean, the constitutional argument to me is still good in the United States. Like you have guns not because there isn't a risk that somebody's going to go crazy, but because in case that the government becomes tyrannical, then what do you do? Because the moment that happens in Australia, like at any moment, who knows, right? Like maybe some political movement in Australia might go rogue, and then they go full Nazi or commie, and everybody's unarmed, right? And that's when it really matters. And those
agree.
blips only occur in a very long periods of time, so it breaks the paradox, right?
Yep.
But in the middle, then yeah. So
I'll give you. I'm proud of the ideas that I invented and haven't heard of before. So one of those ideas is that the 30,000 extra gun deaths a year in the United States is actually maybe a global net win because it is an insurance policy against tyranny, and because America is so powerful that tyranny in that actor would be devastating to all other actors. So, if Mexico had more protection against tyranny through possession of firearms, it wouldn't be as valuable because Mexico doesn't have nukes and aircraft carriers and probably a shitload of bioweapons. So that insurance policy that America has that costs a lot of innocent deaths every year, there is a chance it could pay off for the rest of the world that didn't have to pay for the policy, right?
Yeah.
It's like if it's just like you said, like if Europe gets fucked, America is going to come in and fix it. Sweet, right? And Europe didn't have to pay for the insurance policy. I don't think most people give that existential, like, yes, tyranny happens sometimes, and maybe we're due for some. We do need some insurance policies. I'm not willing to pay that price personally. So I've lived in the Wild West, and I've pulled my gun on folks, and I'm not happy to be doing it. It's not a good deal,
No, Wild West is tough, man. It's really tough. One of the things that is shaking kind of my let's say my conviction on anarcho-capitalism, aside from questions of fraud, which we kind of touched on as far as securities, was just living in one of these communities. This one guy, he basically lost his shit. Like there was this drama with him and the girl, and they both got like polarized, and then the conflict just escalated and escalated and escalated. And we're living in a more or less there's no in a lawless environment, right? Like there's no calling the cops, there's no like we're on our own. And the conflict escalated to a point where there was like crazy threats being made, and the level of stress for everybody was like really high. And it's like, fuck, what are your choices, right? So rationally speaking, let's assume that there's a guy that's like unstable and armed and like reasonably dangerous, right? And then the other girl's just like taunting him, and like there's this just complete crazy, right? Well, you have like seven choices. A, you get the guy killed, right? And that lowers the thing, but now you kill somebody and you have this problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
B, you get him deported, right? Which means there's some asshole somewhere that now hates your guts and may want to get revenge on you.
Mm-hmm.
B, you get him in jail, so you get him trapped. And that actually, thinking about it from this perspective, is actually not that bad a possibility, because if the jail is not like a Mexican prison where they have hookers and roosters. And
you guys have fucking hookers in Mexican prison? That's crazy, dude.
Amazing. Jeez. Like the family of the people come in, they bring a bunch of food, hookers come in, you can get, it's a fucking casino. It's
That sounds better than living on minimum wage in America, truthfully.
100%. Well, in American jails, like some of these American jails are like crazy. Like they have TVs, nice bed, the fucking books. They get fed. Like, are you kidding me?
I don't know anyone that's been to those jails.
Either, but I've seen videos and shit. I'm sure there's some bad jails, right? But like, you're trapped in a place and you're forced into like a disciplined schedule, and maybe there's some education and stuff. You know what? That might actually work for some people, right? Okay, that's possibility number 4. Number 5, you tolerate it and let it escalate until somebody kills somebody, right? You get in the middle, maybe you get shot, right? So there's only like 7 choices. And
I will just say that all of those choices boil down to force. I am a proponent of force. I'm a fan of force. I lift weights every day. I fucking did martial arts for a few years. I like force. I had an arsenal, done scenario shooting, had a fucking grenade launcher. You name it, I've had it, I've done it. I like power, right?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you how it ended up playing, and I more or less try to like de-escalate one person, and then my friend tried to de-escalate the other person, and it was just through conversation and like just talking, like the amount of energy that it took. Holy fuck, man!
Yeah, that's what
Like
people like. Yeah, when there's a conflict between two people, it takes 10 people to fix it, and it doesn't scale. No. All right, chat wants us to get back to crypto. Everyone that follows me is a Bitcoin guy, and Bitcoin guys love guns and hate the government, and I understand that.
Right.
I hate the government so much that I left, so you guys can fix it on your own. Like, I just went someplace better. Like, don't have to.
Where are you at right now?
I don't tell anybody. I want to keep it better.
Okay.
You fuckers have to find your own way. I'm not letting you come ruin, my little slice of paradise.
Right on, man. Quick question about crypto. Like, who do you think, as far as communities, right? Like, who do you think is more likely to have guns and be a gun guy? Bitcoin maximalist or Ethereum maximalist, if there's such a thing?
I don't like. There's no comparison. Like, Bitcoin is beef and guns, and Ethereum is soy and unicorns or hula hoops or something. I don't know. It's just a different mindset, right? Bro. Like,
yeah, and creative,
they're just different.
High creative iteration, yeah. And it's not that they're bad or worse, or I think they are different. And I think it comes down to like personality differences, and you can track those quite significantly. Like people that are like gun meats and keep like a conservative in a central position, right? There are certain personality traits.
Everyone's
that map
complaining for us to go back to crypto. All right, guys, you don't like our politics chat. Fine, just crypto for you guys then. All right, we're going back to crypto. All right. So we left off.
BitcoinHEX.
So, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So my point on the altcoins was, if you do the best job possible and save everyone from getting fucked over buying all these scams, less people will buy Bitcoin. The scammers save some of their money in Bitcoin, which holds the value high, just like the darknet guys. Darknet guys make a lot of money, and then they get busted, and then they don't sell their coins because they're in jail, right? So like, there's this weird thing where all the stuff that sucks actually is part of the reason why the price went up to 20K. And if you want the price to go up there again, you're going to have to get that same sucky shit over again, or just hope that more people hear about it or actually make it better and get adoption. And how are you going to do that with no ads and no killer app? Right? So here's what I did with BitcoinHEX. Or if you want to ask me questions about it, I can answer them.
Well, let me respond to that. Sure. It's really interesting. And it's crypto, right? So it's tricky, right? So one of the things that's missing in Bitcoin is capital, right? Like this is something Max Kaiser says. Capitalism requires capital. That means somebody has to put money to invest in things to grow them. And right now we have an open source culture, which is working enough, arguably, right? I don't want to break anything that's sort of working functionally, right? But I think the potential, like the idea of having capital, that's the thing Ethereum has, right? Like people sort of just raise money through ICOs, and most of that money, who knows where it goes, but that's part of the game. So what Bitcoin and crypto do, in my opinion, is they level out the rules, and they create a financial literacy competition, and that's who gets to keep the money. And that includes being able to see scams, right? And so that's kind of like a litmus test, right? And the morality of that and ethics of that, at some points, there's going to be edges on both cases, right? There's going to be scenarios that are like clearly fraud, and then there's a bunch of stuff in the middle, and there's stuff that's potentially good but failed, and there's stuff that works, and then there's maybe Bitcoin, assuming that Bitcoin is, well, it is the king, it is the standard, right? And so I think that's kind of maybe a good way to think about it.
Here's my reason for starting BitcoinHEX. Bitcoin has had 10 years to go viral. It hasn't, right? It has not. There are only 2 million wallets in Bitcoin, the entire system, that have over $5,000 in them, or over 1,000. I can't remember now. I think it's 1,000. There's only 5 million wallets that have over 100. That's only 7 million wallets, right? All the other stuff, like all the other users, they're not even using crypto. Crypto was made to be something that you hold and protect yourself. And, you know, back in the old days, run your own node, so that you don't get fucked by middlemen that just like take your money. They're like, oh, you know what? We're just not going to give you your money. Yeah. So all the other holders that hold their tokens or coins in exchanges, they're not actually using crypto and they don't actually own crypto. Ask the people that had coins in Mt. Gox how much crypto they thought they had until Mt. Gox went under, and then how much crypto they actually had. They didn't get their fucking crypto because if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto, right? So if Bitcoin hasn't been able to go viral in 10 years and hasn't been able to become a currency in 10 years, and ATMs are going out of business, not opening, and like we need to do something better. Seriously, like it's just like my 35,000 Twitter followers. That is jack shit. Or no, I've got 50.6K on Twitter, 36 or 37K on YouTube. That ain't enough. If it was 100 times more, it still ain't enough, right? Like I could do keyboard reviews and get more fucking viewers. So someone has to reach out into the masses of the public and put normal fucking ads in front of them and normal calls to action and make enough money on them to support doing that over and over again to get crypto to be adopted. Because the only exposure that most people have had to crypto is reports of the price going insanely high or going insanely low. And that's it, because there's no other reason to buy it. Like if you want to pay someone in another country and you want to pay them in crypto, it costs you more than Western Union. It does. And they close your fucking bank account if you even get the money. Like it sucks, right? You pay with something with a credit card, you get a 1% cash back. You pay with something for Bitcoin, you pay a 5% fee, a 10% fee at that ATM, and he pays a 10% fee at the other ATM. That's 20 fucking percent with like 6 hours of waiting for confirmations. Like, so.
Right now I'm doing the math, to like move money from Mexico to Colombia, and I'm doing the math between like moving them through an exchange, through a bank account, and doing them through Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get charged about 7% on Bitcoin. So I got to beat 7%. A lot of money, man. That's
right.
Fuck. 6%.
Yeah. Right. So maybe one day when someone like me has gone out into the public hard enough with a marketing budget to get real user adoption, to get more than 7 million fucking wallets, then we could have something nice, right? So what needs fixed, right? So let's make a list of everything that needs fixed in Bitcoin, right? Okay, the units are fucked up, right? No one wants to pay 0.0321567 for something. Nobody wants to use decimals to pay for shit. So we need the units to be larger, right? So in BitcoinHEX, instead of one Bitcoin claiming one BitcoinHEX, you get 1 million BitcoinHEX. So now the decimal point
right
moved.
now, okay, so that's what you meant by that. So, I mean, technically speaking, I think there's two proposals. One of them is to do like bits, and I think Jimmy Song, it has to be standardized into the wallets and the exchanges, right? And that's the problem. Technically, you could start.
It has to be standardized in CNBC too. Like, it's been 10 fucking years, man. And we've had a price over 1,000 for like 5 years or some shit, or like it was 1,000 in 2013. It's 2019. For 6 fucking years, the price has been over 1,000. Like, you could add millibits a long time. Yeah. So there's like the dream of, oh, this shit could work, or like, let's be serious. If it was gonna work, it would have fucking worked. Like, if it was going to work, it would have worked. So what else can we fix? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm worried that people start believing that Bitcoin is sort of fated to win, like it's sort of in the cards, like it's sort of some sort of like godly thing, or that.
That's not the case either, because we have such shitty adoption. If we had like medium tier adoption, that could be the case. But because the adoption's so shitty, if you do like a medium okay job, you can get an extra 20 million fucking users. Clash of Clans has 100 million users a day, every day. Bitcoin has 7 million users ever total that have over $1,000 in the wallet. Like, so, and imagine how little adoption the shitcoins have. So because it sucks so bad right now, that's actually better for future price growth, not worse. If you can get the trajectory to change, but you do need the trajectory to change.
I agree that we need companies or projects that have capital, that are profitable, that can drive marketing, adoption, education, and stuff. My hope right now, and what I'm seeing, and maybe like might happen, is the Lightning applications, the labs. That might be a thing. There might be a boom in that in next year or two. Who knows? But somebody's got to do it, and if it's not them, fucking a little concerned, right? The only other thing that I could see kind of bringing adoption is some sort of serious geopolitical crisis, or some crisis in Europe or something like
It'll
that.
do the opposite. Crisis will drive the price of all assets down, including Bitcoin.
Will it though?
Yes.
Like what about the
Yep.
Cyprus thing? You don't think the Cyprus bail-in actually had any correlation with the price? Like that was like a big narrative at the
No.
time. Like, oh, people
It's
in Cyprus are
coincidence.
buying Bitcoin.
It was coincidence. As you could tell by all
Speculative.
the Cypress startups that don't exist now.
Right.
They went out of business like in 30 days. So
Right.
fix the units.
Okay.
If you can get higher transactions per second, go ahead and do it. My token currently, ERC20 token on Ethereum, has higher transactions per second. Why? Blocks are more empty, and they start with higher throughput to start with. Shorter block times, right? Faster blocks. So like, okay, cool. So we've got lower fees. We've got higher throughput. We've got units fixed. Okay, what else can we do? Do you think
Yeah, I
someone
mean,
wants... Go ahead.
yeah, you're piggybacking on Ethereum security, which
Right.
is, that's what
It's
their
the
chain is
best
for, right? They're more
possible thing that
centralized
you can
and
do.
stuff.
It is the best
Yeah.
possible thing that you can do today.
Yeah, but you don't have to front the cost. So that I mean, it makes sense for you,
Well,
and it makes sense for people to
it's
use it, but the
it's not...
foundation is less strong than Bitcoin. But
Nope.
that's-
Hold on. So a common mistake people make is they compare two things. So a person will think, oh, I'm not happy because I went to this party. And then they'll think that they should be sad. But they don't measure like, oh, I wouldn't have been happy sitting home either. So then I should just be neutral, right? You have to not just look at the outcome, but what the other outcome would have been. So when someone says, okay, first off, I'll make the case Ethereum is more secure than Bitcoin. But before I do that, even if it wasn't more secure than Bitcoin, I can't launch my shit on Bitcoin. So why do I give a fuck?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's say you want to launch. So in my opinion, cryptocurrency is two things. It's trustlessness to get rid of third parties and gain efficiency. And it's game theory to get people to adopt it, to get the price high, to create a self-reinforcing, exploding viral capture of value, right? It's a liquidity war. It's a currency war. Which currency can capture the most value and therefore have the thickest order books and therefore have the most utility as a currency by allowing people's bids and sells to have the least effect. You want to buy? You could buy at $1. You want to sell? You could sell at $1. In a shit coin or in a low liquidity coin, you want to buy? Okay, $1, it's going to cost you $1.06. You want to sell $1? Okay, you're only going to get 95 cents, right? And that's the situation with all currencies across the world. The more mass you have, the thicker books you have, the better product you have, right? So with if you want to win a liquidity war and you want to onboard new users and you want them to give you their life savings and their kids' life savings and take huge risks with their health, right? People need to pay for doctors. They need money, especially in America, right? Well, then you need to offer them something better than otherwise exists, right? So let's look at the security angle, okay? Has Bitcoin had an inflation bug before? Yes, billions of coins got printed, and then they had to roll back the chain. This was very early on in Bitcoin. Okay.
2010.
Was Bitcoin just going to have another inflation bug if a Bitcoin Cash developer hadn't mentioned it a few months ago? Yes. Right? Well, okay, has Ethereum had an inflation bug? No. Have there ever been inflation bugs found on Ethereum? No.
Well, their inflation. Okay, so yeah, no inflation bug in Ethereum that I've known of, compared to what we've seen in Bitcoin. Even though the one in Bitcoin wasn't really a problem, right? Like the thing, like the security compromise for Bitcoin was, we're going to make it so that a lot of people can validate the accounting by downloading the full copy of Bitcoin. And so what just happened was people just had to like download the updated version that accounted for the inflation bug, and then the inflation bug people would have been on a fork chain, and that's the network would have just split them off, right?
Right, but if you make the appeal to we can fix everything that goes wrong, then we might as well not even do a good job on security, because fuck it, we'll just fix it if it goes wrong, right? Like I could launch BitcoinHEX without doing an audit.
Like that bug, Bitcoin is backwards compatible. So like a lot of the nodes that have the inflation bug, you could run them right now and you could execute that attack and you could try to like
No, it wasn't.
Right
well,
now.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, you can try to scam people with that, right? And the only way, the difference between them catching you and not catching you is whether the node that's validating that transaction is updated.
No. So that was the original story. No, that was the original story, but that was a lie. It turns out the actual story was different than that, okay? The original story on the inflation bug was that there wasn't an inflation bug. The original story on the inflation bug was that there's a DDoS attack vector that could make your node turn off. And if they send you a specifically formatted thing, right? I'm not going to explain it in detail, but if they sent you a specific type of transaction, your node would go offline. And then they could just turn off all the nodes that they could connect to. And then there'd be no transactions, right? But that was actually bullshit, because the same vulnerability that allowed that bug also allowed the inflation bug. And the inflation bug could operate and propagate and spread without knocking nodes offline. So you're half right. If the original understanding of the bug was what it actually was, then what you said would be correct. But after you read the incident report, it was actually an inflation bug and a DDoS attack bug, which both had the same solution. So now let's talk about security some more, okay? So Ethereum's never had an inflation bug. Bitcoin had one and almost had another one. Now why is Bitcoin having these bugs? Because the consensus code is meshed and intertwined with the wallet code and the network code and every other type of code you'd ever want to fix or improve or optimize. It all hooks in and touches consensus, which is so fucking delicate, right? So if you want to have less of these bugs in Bitcoin, someone has to do the hard work of refactoring and getting consensus in its own separate fucking module where it doesn't get touched very often. And then they could improve all this other crap and reduce latency and all the other things they want to do to make good software, right? So what problem does Ethereum have? Everyone that uses it gets the shit hacked out of them. Why? Because they give you the most rope to hang yourself. It's harder to hang yourself in Bitcoin because the only thing you can fuck up is sending all your change address to a miner, right? If you're custom coding your own wallet and you don't understand change addresses that well, you don't understand you need to send the leftover money back to yourself. Like if you don't understand that, you lose all your money and pay it as a fee to the miner. That's how people get fucked over in Bitcoin doing development. In Ethereum, they get fucked over a million different ways. Race conditions, reentrancy attacks, which are related, by the way. Like you can force Ethereum into an address. So if you do a contract that says we're only going to do this logic when this thing gets paid and you think you're the only guy that can pay it, you can not stop someone from sending you Ethereum. Some people died to that. I could give you a list of all the ways people have gotten wrecked in Ethereum using Turing complete code, but I know them all now, so I don't have to do them, right? So like millions and millions and millions of dollars have been lost fucking up in the system that I don't have to lose now to learn those things because those guys lost those things.
Well, and you think you know them all, and you might not, but you may know enough that your contract might be secure enough, right?
Well, here are my options, right? I want to execute game theory with trustlessness. I can either do it in a smart contract, or I can do it in my own low hash rate, easy to attack blockchain. Those are my only fucking two options. That's it. I guess there's like a third where I could have fake trustlessness that used federation, and I just had 11 of my buddies run nodes, right? That's my three options.
Did you look at Counterparty at all?
Sure, yeah. I've met Robert Demodi and those guys in 2013. We met in Amsterdam.
Can't do it with that? I know it's like...
Why? Like, everything's worse. So, like...
everything's worse, yeah.
Yeah, well, look, there was an opcode war. Ethereum was going to launch on Bitcoin. There was an opcode war at the time where they didn't want extra data clogging up the blockchain. And from the Bitcoiner's perspective, it's actually kind of smart to not let other value chains suck value off your chain, right? If there's a finite number of pools that will invest in you, if it was just libertarians, right? And they had to choose between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, one of those prices has to go down, right? With Ethereum, they didn't have to draw from a common pool. It was a new whole pool of users with very little crossover. Like who's a Bitcoin OG that's also an Ethereum OG? Right? Well, there you go. Lucky you, right? There's not that many statistically. So, like, if you are actually dividing up a small pool of money or a finite pool of money across different token projects, it's smart to fuck those other token projects over and make sure they can't operate so that you get all the money. It would help your project like be larger, right? Until we discovered that there's actually a lot more pockets of money available. And to get to those, you need individualized sales pitches. Some people want the green, good for earth shit. Some people want the trustless interest shit, my thing. Some people, and top 3 crypto thing, and I got a lot of cool things. You want the anonymity and fungibility, you go Monero. You want Kumbaya World Computer, which is actually less strong than the phone in your pocket. How do I know? Because I've paid many dollars to discover it and audited the code myself, and it's really hard and it really sucks. So if you want security and you want to do game theory with trustlessness, your only options are fake with Federation, EOS, or real through Ethereum, right? But you could hang yourself on your contract, so you better know what you're doing. Or Bitcoin, if they let opcodes survive and they don't decide to just like shrink that address space some more instead of just making it prunable. They're just like, oh, we'll just make it 20 bytes now instead of 40 or 80. So like the Bitcoin guys have proven that they don't want other data in their blockchain. They're not really excited about it. And when the blocks were full at the end of 2017, you would really not want to be paying an extra $20 to send your transaction because some guy was trying to back up his YouTube videos into the fucking blockchain. Like we have very limited space in these things. So they really should be just used for what they must be used for, which is things that require censorship resistance. No one's trying to censorship your fucking home photos and home videos. Like, no one cares, right? So you should hash those and put the hashes in, but don't try and put the actual thing itself in.
Yeah, you can put a Bitcoin Cash, that free space.
Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it a point not to make fun of Bitcoin Cash. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
We'll try. I'll try with you.
Because those guys get wrecked already. They lost 95% of their money. Like, what do you really like? Do you need to piss on their graves? Like, and then
how much?
Fuck. So
I feel for them. Yeah.
Which is more? So if you think, I don't think hash rate helps security as much as people think it does. These are all socially enforced networks. Okay. If you mine more hash rate at higher expense to yourself on a chain that doesn't play by the rules, I don't care. So it doesn't actually matter how much hash rate you have. It matters how much hash rate you have that I'm willing to care about, right? By the rules I define. That's why we had UASF. That's why we got SegWit, right? Because we said, hey, even though all the miners want this shit with larger blocks, the users don't. So we're just going to Sybil attack the nodes and make all the nodes, whether they mine or not, vote against that fork. And then you're not going to get your fucking block size increase. So we got the SegWit, but they didn't get the block size increase, right? As per the New York agreement. Probably no one that's even watching knows what the fuck I'm talking about. Well, this is like ancient history because it's like, a couple years ago.
I know, a couple of years ago. I've interviewed a bunch of people on this, and there's two really interesting things that have kind of reached as far as UASF. One of them is that we don't know what would have happened if the conflict actually went to head. So if the miners went up against UASF, we don't know what would have happened, right? We believe that there would have been...
Well, I know what would have happened because Jeff Garzik's code was buggy and it didn't run properly. Yeah. So never mind the first block because he's a terrible coder. And if I find his address, he's not going to be able to claim BitcoinHEX. Jeff Garzik, if I find your Bitcoin address, it is getting pulled out of the UTXO set, along with Rogers, along with Jihans, along with Craig's, along with Kelvin's, along with Bitmain's. You guys are bad actors. You hurt the hand that fed you, okay? You don't get free money from me. Go make your own free money.
I like it.
Now, the problem, when I say that, people go, it's not decentralized. And those people are fucking stupid. So let me tell you how decentralized the system is, okay?
Okay, let's talk about that, yeah.
In Bitcoin, you guys decide how big the blocks are every time you install a new EXE. You see Bitcoin Core came out with a new release, verifies transactions a little quicker, cryptographic code's been improved a bit, networking code's been improved a bit, some bugs got fixed, right? And you have a little text file that you can edit that says what size blocks you're willing to accept and what signaling you're willing to give as in regards to what your node is willing to play with, right? Every time
Bitcoin
someone...
Core?
Go ahead.
This is Bitcoin Core?
Yeah. There's a config file, .conf, and you can put whatever the fuck you want in there, and your node can mine blocks it wants, mine blocks it doesn't want. You know, you could mine blocks that you can make whatever rules you want, right? That's how the system works. But if you make stupid rules, you get forked off the network, and no one else wants you on the network, right? Like, you mine a block that's too big, everyone else says no, they reject it, right? Why am I saying this? Because things like the 21 million block limit are theory. They're not real. At any time, the people that run the nodes could decide to change that number. And what would you do as a user? You'd shove your thumb up your ass and cry. Because if you're not a miner, and you're not a node, and you're not an exchange, you don't fucking matter. No one cares about you.
Yeah.
So
all you can do is sell. Yeah.
You can whine like a bitch and try and like build your own fab and make your own chips, and you're behind 2 or 3 fucking years. Like,
well, you can sell. You can sell your coins and get out. That's the only option you have if you hold coins and don't play any other games.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you can sell. That is a good point. So why do I say this? Because my contract, once I put it on the blockchain, is actually immutable. It doesn't get changed by your .conf file. It doesn't get changed by any new bugs that somebody fucking wrote that touched consensus. It's immutable and it's there, right? If an inflation bug happens in ETH, it doesn't affect the supply of BitcoinHEX. It does not. Now, there may be some classes of errors or weirdness that could exist that would make problems. But I've not been able to see how they're more problems. I see that they're less problems.
Okay, so I would say that it's immutable-ish. Like, it's not as immutable as Bitcoin, but you're probably okay.
No, it's more. I can never change it. No one can ever change it. No one ever can ever change it.
Ethereum broke their immutability about 4 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago. That's why we have Ethereum Classic, and that was around the DAO. If you're saying that these coins are socially enforceable, if you're saying that Bitcoin's socially enforceable, then Ethereum is certainly socially enforceable. Yep. So if there's enough of a reason for people to fork you off, then they will. Right. Will they? Probably not, because I don't see. Well, I don't understand Bitcoin's technology, but as far as I can tell, I don't know. If you were enough of a threat, they might think about it. Doesn't sound like.
I don't think being the only successful DApp on their platform would be a threat.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't think being the only one with over 1,000 users a day would be a problem for them. They'd probably enjoy the fees, right? They'd probably enjoy their blocks to have a little more usage. And then 3 things. 1, if they want to be dicks, I'll fork their shit. I know how to press the fork button, and I know how to mine. Okay?
Yeah.
2, I know how to proof of work change. 3, I know how to airdrop onto 6 other systems that support Solidity. Okay. Mm-hmm. So don't fuck with me. I'll take my money elsewhere.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that they will, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that they will. I'm just saying, like, at the beginning you said it's important to have clarity about the vulnerabilities and the strengths of your system. Sure. And I agree with that. Right, so you can't do an ERC20 contract or a Turing complete contract on top of Ethereum, to my knowledge today. You can on Ethereum. Ethereum has certain compromises to do that, and gives you certain benefits, and that's fine. Right? I'm not saying to kind of like say that the BitcoinHEX is shit or anything like that. I'm not. Like, I actually want to understand.
I'm not even trying to argue with you. I'm just pointing out shit that I think is interesting. So I don't think most people understand that in Bitcoin how actually mutable it really is. It is really, really, really mutable. They could literally, every single time a new update comes out and a new exe gets double clicked or run at the command line on a node, that is what Bitcoin is. Okay? The history of Bitcoin, the immutable part, the part that's secured by millions of gigawatts of electricity, maybe not millions, but probably millions, that can't be changed. But future forward, what you can continue to do with the network is at the sole will of people double clicking exes. Sometimes those EXEs make inflation bugs, which, by the way, there ain't no difference between an inflation bug and people just deciding to run weird fucking code. Like, you know what? We're not going to have the halvening anymore. And then they just don't have the halvening anymore.
So the inflation bug was alarming for sure. And it was like serious risk, right? We definitely don't want any inflation bugs. But there's an immune system response in Bitcoin to that. And that's basically you update your node so that it can recognize the inflation bug. Or it can, well, you update your node so that it can identify the inflation, the fake coins, and then it rejects them, and then
Right,
those
but they're not
transactions.
fake when everyone else. They're not fake when more people agree that they're real than you do, right? So
Well,
that's
it
what happened with
depends on
Ethereum. That's what happened with Ethereum. There's two versions of the chain. There's a version of
Yeah.
the chain that had the DAO emptied, and there's the version of the chain that didn't. And all the users kind of
Yeah.
sort of carbon vote default to whatever the like it
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
it was not right. So I didn't like
really
the carbon vote at all. Like if code is law and you wrote code that allowed this shit to get stolen, well, is it law then? Okay, well then there's nothing to talk about. You guys got robbed, right?
That was the
So
funniest shit because at the end of it, Vitalik came out saying like, okay. So code is not law. The important thing is the spirit of the law.
right, yeah,
That's-
and then you've
Right.
like we've got it's so stupid.
Correct.
I don't think that you could do that now because I think that it's like herding
think so.
cats. Getting consensus
probably-
gets harder and harder the larger the system gets. That's why I don't
Yeah,
think
and I mean,
we'll ever have privacy in Bitcoin, by the way.
Right. Well, I
It
mean,
won't,
Lightning,
you couldn't
they're
even
starting-
get fucking SegWit, which provided like what exactly did SegWit give us, right? A little bit of throughput and the ability to get Lightning done and some malleability fixes.
Yeah.
But that's not that contentious. That's really not that fucking contentious. The system
really
just kept doing what it always did. But if you add anonymity, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like some people might lose their bank accounts now. Like, oh, now you
Well,
can't
but-
be a crypto business anymore. You are not going to get if you had to lie and cheat and offer to give the SegWit 2x guys their 2x blocks in order to get SegWit and then fuck them over and not give them the 2x size blocks and just keep the SegWit, which is what happened. They know you're going to do that the next time. And the system will be larger with more participants. And the feature you're trying to roll in is more exciting and crazy and someone would actually want it more, right? I'd love to have confidential transactions or Mimblewimble or all the other cool stuff that could bring privacy to Bitcoin. That'd be great. I don't think it's going to get forked in. I really don't.
Right. Yeah, probably. I don't think it's gonna like layer one is like it's solid now. I mean, I don't either.
Yeah. So my position.
But Lightning Network. So have you heard the Lightning Network argument for privacy? Sorry, we'll go back.
Sure. Yeah, they use Tor routing. It's great. Lightning Network privacy is awesome. They use fucking Tor. It's best of breed anonymous routing. And as long as you don't fuck yourself up with timing attacks, I'm not even going to explain to you guys what that means.
Yeah. One of the cool things that they did recently is that you can create this is my vague understanding. You can create a Lightning channel that uses a Bitcoin address that's a 1, and so now it's camouflaging the legacy addresses rather than identifying itself as a SegWit address.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's even anonymity at that level, but anyway, that's a whole other branch. That's probably the best we're gonna get, frankly.
Well, no, I mean,
Yeah,
there's other ways to get anonymity. Like you can just coin join from a large enough pool of joins. You could go to Monero. You could there's other things you can do. But since no one actually uses this shit for commerce, no one actually cares about the anonymity that much because only 1% of it's for use for darknet, and they do really care, right? And everyone else just doesn't give a fuck. They just want to leave their coins on the exchange and get their mad gains. So if store of value is worth 10 times as much as transporter of value, gold's worth 7.7 trillion. Transporters of value, if you add them up, MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, are worth 770 billion, 10 times less, okay? Being a transporter value is worth 10 times less than being a store of value. That's the math. It's been that way for a really long time, all right?
Amazing.
I would rather be a store of value. So my token is a store of value. What other things can you do? By the way, and the final thing on Bitcoin, on the Ethereum like being more secure, who do you think has a more diverse mining ecosystem? People that mine on GPUs or people who sent money to Jihan? Those are your options.
But there's Ethereum ASICs, man. There's Ethereum ASICs, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
at
I don't
least
think
that's
they're
what I'm-
minority. I think they're like 40%. And they're also, I might add, getting rid of them. They're introducing a proof of work change to ProgPow, ProgPow, so that those ASICs break. Let me know when Bitcoin rolls in a proof of work change to get rid of Jihan. But it's okay. Jihan got rid of himself. He's no longer CEO of the company he founded because he got fucking wrecked because he tried to destroy real Bitcoin by making fake fucking Bitcoin and buying a giant bag of it. His company owns over 1 million coins, right? And if you notice the supply of Bitcoin Cash is a lot higher, even though they forked at the same block number, isn't that interesting? Right?
Yeah, it is.
Where'd all those extra coins go? Oh, to the miners. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
you know why? Because the difficulty went so low that this guys, the big miners, were mining like 40 blocks an hour for like the first 2 days.
They had the emergency difficulty adjustment that through its oscillation allowed you to.
Yeah, so they changed the supply anyway. Yeah.
BitcoinHEX is launching on the most possible secure blockchain that exists that it can possibly work with. It's better than launching my own chain. It's better than running Counterparty. It's better than being on Mastercoin, if that even still exists. It's better than being on RSK, which has a 20% fucking founders tax on every block until like maybe 5 or 10 years later when they have a 10% tax.
Right.
It's better than all those things, right? It's easier to audit. It's easier to integrate. It's easier to maintain trustlessness because the smart contract just sits there. No one can ever edit it ever. So there ain't no question about should we increase the this, that, or the other? Well, let's have a vote on it. There ain't no voting. The fucking contract's sitting there. That's it, right? Never changing. No double clicking EXEs. The contract is there. The game theory is there. It ain't changing. It has a more diverse ecosystem of miners. You have less fork bullshit. You have less controversy. You have less fake copies being started trying to steal the shit with the same brand, right? I'm starting a Bitcoin copy too, right? There's less Ethereum copies. Okay.
Let me ask you some questions to try to, because I actually don't know what BitcoinHEX is fundamentally. So let's walk through it and then we can talk more about it. So, okay. So as far as I understand, so I have some Bitcoin. So if I want to claim my BitcoinHEX, I have to I go open up my Bitcoin node and then I sign a transaction with a special string that says I claiming BitcoinHEX and I put the address on it.
No.
Okay.
It's close though.
How do I claim BitcoinHEX?
Okay. So the most sacred and secretive thing that you ever have to protect in your crypto life is your private keys. And people fuck this up all the time. When Bitcoin Cash came out and offered you some free coins, they uploaded a wallet called Electrum Cash, a fork of Electrum, written by an anonymous guy who nobody knew who the fuck he was. And that anonymous guy could have edited that file before he compiled it. He could have changed the code to say, send all these dumbasses private keys to me. And then compiled the code and sent the exe out. And what I got hosted on the Wix website that Roger and Homeboys put up, okay, to launch their fork, which is still in the top fucking 5, right? And people run the exe and they put their keys in there. And magically, luckily, they don't get the living fuck robbed out of them. You guys need to stop doing that shit, right? So BitcoinHEX doesn't want you to send a transaction anywhere. We don't want you to send a Bitcoin somewhere. All you need to do is use a feature that's built into any wallet that you use that's good. Any Bitcoin wallet that is good has a feature called sign signature, okay? So when you have a Bitcoin address, you can send, you can receive, and there's this other cool third feature that's been there forever called sign statement. You make a signature, okay? So all you do is you write claim to your BitcoinHEX address, which is just an Ethereum address, which you get when you install this MetaMask browser extension. Or you could just have your own fucking Ethereum address, however you have it. Maybe you have a hardware wallet. I don't care how you get your Ethereum address, right? I prefer to call it a BHX address because I prefer to capture all the value myself than give it to the commoditized substrate, right? UPS makes money. The roads don't make as much money as UPS. Cisco makes routers. They don't make as much money as Amazon. The value gets captured at higher levels of the value chain the longer the system's been in existence because the lower levels get commoditized. I'm more than happy to see Ethereum transactions be very cheap. I'm more than happy to see all the other dApps fail. I'm more than happy to see ETH price go so low that people have to accept BitcoinHEX as payment for mining. That's fine for me. The code's already there. You want to accept an ERC20 to pay for mining to get your transaction into a block. It's there. Cool, right? So I don't like calling the BHX address an Ethereum address, but unfortunately it is. So you just sign a statement in your Bitcoin wallet that says, claim to your Ethereum address. And that's it. That's all the text.
Yeah.
Now, You could
Okay,
fuck
and
yourself if you copied over some really advanced text that actually was some giant long, like, actually I'm sending a Bitcoin, right? So there's a warning next to it. It says, don't sign any shit that seems weird. It's like sign things that are short and sensible, right? So claim to your Ethereum address, ain't no way you can get hacked on that shit. You don't have to send your transaction anywhere. You never have to move your Bitcoins. Now, so what have you done? You've proved that you, the message signer, own some Bitcoin and an address. You choose which address you sign from, right? For this system, you need to make a signature from every address you want to claim from. If you have a lot of addresses, you're going to be signing a lot of signatures. You'll be clicking yes a lot, right? Or you could just send all your money to one wallet and just do it once, right? So now you've got to tell the smart contract that checks that you had Bitcoin and knows where to give it because you told it, hey, I had Bitcoin and here's my address, send it there. Someone has to get that into that smart contract to do the processing to give you your money, right? So we built the system so that anyone could pay your transaction fee because I'm not trying to pump ETH's price. I don't want ETH's price to go up. I don't want Bitcoin users to have to buy Ethereum ever, right? So if someone else wants to pay your fee in gas, which is Ethereum, to submit your transaction, which is in between 3 and 30 cents, depending on the day and the busyness, or it could be 0 cents if you're willing to wait a while. Anyone can pay that for you. So as a claimant, you should be able to just go in your Bitcoin wallet, paste your Ethereum address, click sign, click copy, click paste into the BitcoinHEX website with the MetaMask extension, and then someone will pay your fee for you because lucky you, and then you'll be credited, and that's it. So it's trustless, It's verifiable. There ain't no hidden inflation. Everything from here was the UTXO set that we copied at this block height. Here are the assholes we removed and why. Here are the people that were whales that got reduced by 75% for having over 10,000 coins, by 50% for having over 1,000 coins, right? So those have to be manually processed. So the reduction in claims for being a whale and the reduction, it's called the silly whale penalty because you could avoid it. You could just split your wallet into wallets under 1,000 and it wouldn't apply to you. But if you haven't been listening to me for the last however many months I've been preaching this, and you come to go get rich on my project at the last moment, fuck you. You should have been here earlier with everyone else, right? Or helping me build it. But where were you? So now you can get wrecked. So if you're smart whale, you shard your wallets into less than 1,000, and they have to start with a 1 or a BC1. So addresses that start with 3, we can't do any programming logic in Ethereum with. It's the blocks. The Ethereum network isn't strong enough to process Bitcoin script. And any Bitcoin address that starts with a 3 uses script, multi-sig, compatibility mode, SegWit. So we can process addresses that start with 1, normal addresses, pay to script hash, pay to public key hash. I'm sorry, pay to public key hash or pay to public key. We can do this. Addresses that start with 1. Or if yours is the newest best one, which is pure SegWit, which isn't compatibility mode, you can do that through Electrum or Coinomi. They both create and allow you to transact in new real deal SegWit, BC1. If your address is in either of those and you can sign a statement, you can claim. So trustless, verifiable, no downloading a wallet and getting hacked. I mean, in theory, maybe you could find some hacked MetaMask wallet to download. I guess you could still manage to fuck up somehow, but it's less fucking up. I'm gonna make video guides for it. It's really easy. I'm gonna just tell you how easy it is. Open your Bitcoin wallet. Go to your Bitcoin address that has some Bitcoin in it. Click sign message. Paste your Ethereum address in there. Click sign. Click copy. Paste that shit in the BitcoinHEX website. Click. That's it. You're done. You just need to have MetaMask installed.
Cool. Makes sense. So to recap, you're not sending your Bitcoin to anybody.
Nope.
You're proving that you own Bitcoin.
Yep.
And you're requesting to be added to a whitelist on this Ethereum smart contract, which is BitcoinHEX. And it's the whitelist of people that are participating in BitcoinHEX. And then there's also a blacklist of people that you've sort of removed because A, they're whale, B, they're bad players, C, they're Satoshi and he has too many coins.
Well,
it's more or less.
It's kind of right. It's just that there's just no whitelist and blacklist. There's just the code just runs. So like once that code is there, no one can fuck with it. I can't change it. I can't edit it. I can't control it. It's so distributed that not even a single human can fuck with it. It's just what
So
it is.
you don't have like a training wheel on it or anything like that.
There's no private functions. They're all public functions. There's no magic numbers in there. There's no like hidden factoring of some primes that I could have been for the last 10 years, like working on factoring a certain prime and then like stealing from the contract that way. Like none of that shit. It's audited, which by the way, Bitcoin's not audited. There ain't no external fucking Bitcoin security audit.
Well,
There's not even an external. Yeah, that's been working really well. There's not even an external audit on Ethereum. There is an external audit on the ERC20 package I'm using, and there will be an external audit and the massive amount of modifications we've had to do to all this cool game theory stuff. So it should be more secure because we paid for it to be more secure. When you go get an audit, they quote you 60, 70 grand at the top end. I've got like 5 or 6 quotes for 50 or 60, 70 grand to do the fucking audit. So let me know when someone parts with 60 or 70 grand to go audit Bitcoin, and it would probably be a lot more expensive.
I'm pretty sure there's teams looking at Bitcoin, right? Like,
but it's
I
different.
Should know this.
Having a professional audit done by people that do it for a living is nothing compared to a guy in his underwear eating Cheetos that's just fucking around with some part of the code he's working on and notices something, which is how all those bugs get found. And sometimes they do fuzzing and find some shit. Sometimes.
Yeah, I should have a better answer for that, but okay.
Hey, Bitcoin is still the most secure blockchain if you value hash rate. Bitcoin is still the most valuable blockchain if you value thick order books. Bitcoin is still the most valuable blockchain if you value regulatory certainty. Bitcoin is still the most valuable blockchain if you like access to the futures markets and larger entities that have agreements for like custody and shit. Bitcoin's still got a bunch of amazing things going on it. But the one thing I don't think it has, I don't think it can out appreciate a coin that started from zero. I can 1000x BitcoinHEX. I can't 1000x Bitcoin. It's already $60 billion. It ain't going up 1000x, but I can get 1000x in hex. So.
You don't think it's gonna hit like 6 trillion in like 10 years? You don't think it'll touch?
Gets harder and harder. Gets harder and harder because they fight back. They're not fighting right now. That shit, Bitcoin died on its own. They didn't even have to do anything. They didn't pass a single fucking law bad for Bitcoin, except China. China was mean, okay? Everyone else, okay, China, Venezuela, Cuba, a few countries, Thailand, no, Malaysia, sorry. Maybe a little bit Thailand. That Bitcoin dropped 85% on its own because it went up so fucking fast. And it has no one has to buy it. If you want a bottom floor where the price doesn't go under that, people have to buy that shit. You know who has to sell Bitcoin? Miners. They have to sell that shit. They got to pay electric bills, dude.
Yeah.
So what I love about BitcoinHEX is we pay holders instead of miners. You want to mine new Bitcoin? You want to get Bitcoin's inflation, which was 4.16% over the last year? You need to go give money to some foreign company, some megacorp, right? Some dude that probably don't want to speak English to you, okay? You got to go give that guy a lot of money, right? And then hope that you get your machines on time because half of the profit will come in the first week you receive your machine. And if you receive your machine a week late, you've lost half the money you'll ever make on that fucking project. And so when you get your miners, if you ever get them, okay, and you find there's dust in the fans because they've been mining, running up the hash rate before you got them, what you gonna do, right? Remember when Jihan only accepted payment in Bitcoin Cash? That was a funny one, right? For his ant miners, which were the most populous miners, the most hash rate in the planet. Mining ain't your friend. Miners ain't your friend. They tried to push SegWit 2x with buggy code through, would have fucked the network. They made a bunch of copies, tried to steal hash rate, tried to do a death spiral, literally, tried to fucking destroy real Bitcoin, right? Demonize at every possible turn the people that work for free at Blockstream and Chain Code Labs that are 80% of the commits to the Bitcoin code that is the entire network. 90+% runs the Bitcoin Core client, period, right? Everything they do is to demonize and harm those people that have done the absolute best work in the industry as far as crypto. If you have the option of running bitcoind.exe or Geth or Parity on Ethereum, Geth and Parity suck balls compared to Bitcoin's exe. It's a lot easier to keep your Bitcoin exe node up than it is to keep the bloated, not as well designed, not as performant Ethereum nodes up that also have to deal with higher throughput.
Wait, so you have an Ethereum node implementation?
No.
Oh, okay. Something else. Okay.
No, like I could run parity and Geth and maintain my own farm of them, or I could just use what everyone else is using. And then if it goes down, okay, well now we'll just point the site to somebody who has a node up that we trust, right?
Yeah.
So there's not.
I got confused with the BEX thing you're saying.
Oh, well, so in Bitcoin D, there's only one implementation that you can use or you'll be fucked.
Right.
You have to use Bitcoin Core or you will get fucked. In Ethereum, you can use parity or Geth. One is programmed in the Go language. I can't remember what parity's programmed in, unfortunately. I think it's C++. So they have multiple implementations. Now, I would argue that that's worse. Some other people would argue that it's better. They're different modes of failure. You'll get more consensus arguments when the two different implementations argue with each other, and then everyone has to stop transacting, or you get a runaway fork, right? And then you have two Ethereums. This shit has happened before. Not the two Ethereums, but the, hey, we have to stop for a bit. But you don't get that in Bitcoin because there's just one fucking client. So if one client fucks up, it doesn't disagree with itself. It just stops running. It fails safe. But in Ethereum, the nodes, they don't really fail safe. They start to disagree with each other more. So
Gotcha.
I understand the plus and minuses to all the system. I've chosen the right system with the cheapest fees, the highest throughput, the easiest integration, the easiest audit, the most secure, the best mining ecosystem. It's 100% the right choice. Yes, the world computer is a piece of shit. It's less powerful than my phone. But if you want trustless, that's the price you have to pay. No throughput, world's most expensive transactions from a computing perspective, right? Like you're paying like $1 to hash something. Well, not that much, but you're paying the most you can possibly pay for computation. You can't possibly pay more for computing than doing it on a blockchain, period.
Okay. I'm with you. It makes sense to me. I understand why you chose Ethereum. It's the only option, really. I mean, I've looked at the other ones, like Ethereum's basically the first place you want to build anything that you can build on Bitcoin. Okay, I understand how to claim my Bitcoins. I understand there's something about an interest rate or some sort of inflation rate or something like that. We'll talk about that.
All right.
Okay, let's talk about that. So,
sure. In Bitcoin, the currency inflates 4.17% every year, but it slows down over time. So every 4 years, the block rate cuts in half. So the inflation rate decreases over time with a ratchet every 4 years because the block reward gets cut in half. And the time is supposed to be the same. When people are always putting on more hash rate, you have a little bit extra inflation because you're overshooting the retarget. And when hash rate's declining like it is in the bear market, you have a little undershoot so that there's less coins produced because you're undershooting the retarget. Instead of paying Chinese electric bills and Chinese chip manufacturers hundreds of millions of dollars, at least $1 billion a year, to burn electricity, to pollute the environment, even though it's better pollution, it's mostly water pollution, right? So you're just destroying habitats. You're not sending carbon into the air. You're just fucking over birds and animals that used to live in the valley that's now a pool of water for potential energy to turn kinetic, to turn turbines to make electricity, to make cheap hydropower. Instead of doing all that bullshit, right? Since hash rate barely works anyway, right? Like the way to attack these systems is at the software or at the consensus, at the social. The best way to attack a blockchain is to make a law to make it illegal to run a node. That would have a big effect, a much larger effect than buying a bunch of chips to attack the hash. Then they just fork in a fucking proof of work change.
But that's only because the proof of work is difficult to attack. Like if they could break the confidence in Bitcoin's immutability to say that the Chinese government is going to do whatever the fuck they want, then they would if it was easy, but they don't because they can't or because it's too expensive. And so they try other attacks.
They're all, you could do any of these attacks, right? But you have to assume that they're a rational actor and will just choose the cheaper, more effective one. So they could actually set off nukes and just destroy the whole planet. They could do that, right? So you can turn off everything if you want to. And then if you want to step that back, you can just turn off the entire internet and all radio communications. And anytime you find a radio transmitting, you triangulate it and you fucking hit it with a drone. And you don't want to do that. Okay, you back it up, and then you just make a law where some people go to jail for life for running a node, and then most people choose not to. But they don't want to do that either, so they back it up. And at some point, you just realize, you're like, okay, what's easier? To find a bug in the software or to buy a whole shitload of hash rate and wait 2 years for the chip fab to make it. It's not going to happen. No state actor is going to buy a bunch of fucking SHA-256 chips to attack a blockchain. It's not going to happen. So what that means is that proof of work is valuable, and it does prevent attacks, but only to a certain degree. It only goes so high. And that 51% attack, if you have a third of the blocks, you can actually get some attacks off. You don't need 51. 51 is you can never fight back. No amount of confirmations will ever save you attack. But if you have a third of the hash rate, you can fuck over the level of confirmations that we're at now, which is 6 in a very high priced exchange, right?
On Bitcoin?
Yeah. If you want to know that you sold your house and got paid, you wait 6 confirmations. If you run an exchange and you make so much money on your clients that you're willing to take the risk that some weird fucking fork happens and you lose those hours of deposits, then you will let people deposit with like two confirmations. And BitMEX, which I promote, they'd let you trade in 1 confirmation.
Gotcha.
But they also only let you withdraw once a day. So if you fuck with them, they got a whole day to like unfuck themselves, depending on when you deposited. So what have we got here? We've got units fixed, cheaper transactions, faster transactions, higher throughput, a ecosystem which is more resistant to fucking tomfoolery and bullshit because they're running GPUs instead of fucking ASICs that only megacorps can afford, right? They're constantly working on scaling. They're constantly working on sharding. It may never work, but holy fuck, they're trying, right? And so many people are throwing away millions and millions of dollars, like the whole consensus group that's just throwing money in the fucking garbage can because they get a giant bag of Ethereum. They've got 1,200 devs. I think they maybe fired 600 of them. So they've still got 600 devs. Bitcoin ain't got 600 devs, right? So there's 600 people working on fucking Ethereum and things that people that use it need to work, right? Like there's a lot of shit that we needed to build what we built that if it didn't exist, I mean, I probably would have had to choose a different system because it just would have sucked so much more, right? Like I need to time warp the future state of a blockchain. So I need a test blockchain that supports fucking time warping. Okay, they give me that. Great. Okay, I need a standard that allows me to interoperate with other things. Okay, right? Like so many things that exist in that ecosystem only exist because hundreds of millions of dollars have been burnt on people building shit, right? Like MetaMask. Okay, you can do smart contract, blockchain, trustless shit over a browser. Can you do that in Bitcoin? No. What the fuck are you gonna do in a browser in Bitcoin? Can't do shit in a browser in Bitcoin, right? So like so I'm very happy with my choice there. It's given me a lot of things that Bitcoin cannot do, and the most important of which is the price pump. So let me explain the price pump to you. The pumpamentals is probably the only thing anyone gives a fuck about. I could talk to you all day about security. People don't care. These things don't get hacked that often. Only really shitty ones get hacked. Bitcoin Gold got hacked. Ethereum Classic got hacked, but apparently the hacker sent back the money. Interesting.
On Classic?
Yeah.
Bitcoin Classic?
Yep. Apparently the hacker who took 100K ETH or $100,000 of ETH from Gate.io sent the money back. Yes, Ethereum Classic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Maybe. I do not like when a coin gets hacked and the fucking price goes up. I don't like that shit. I don't fucking like that. Sure. Okay? If your coin gets hacked and the price goes up, you are not the guy that knows what's going on, right? If you're speculating in that system and shit that should affect the price isn't affecting the price, you're going to get wrecked and you're not going to understand how or why.
Yeah.
That it ain't gold, right? So
yeah.
So how do you want, what makes the Bitcoin price go up? Partly the fact that you can't spend this shit on anything, right? You want to buy a house for Bitcoin? Good luck, motherfucker. You got like 6 options. You got 6 houses on the market globally that you could buy with Bitcoin, unless you want to convert someone's ass. Like, please let me pay you Bitcoin, please, right? If you want to spend US dollars, where can you spend them? Absolutely anywhere. So it's a lot easier to hold Bitcoin because the only thing you can sell it for is dollars or shitcoins, right? Or, a grand or two of your yearly drug supply or whatever. It's easier for Bitcoin's price to pump because it has less utility. Now, I'll give you some fancy bullshit that economists use. It's called the velocity of money. The faster the velocity of money, the higher the turnover of the money, the less the value of the money. Because you don't need a float of money, you can just get the next guy's money, right? There's other reasons as well. So there's theories out there that Lightning adoption will actually hurt Bitcoin price. I don't know. It is possible, right? This economic theory is well thought out. I think it won't hurt Bitcoin's price because it will increase adoption more than the velocity will hurt the price, right? But I don't discount the concept that the velocity of money affects the fucking price. It's a well-studied fact, all right? Which is why no one even knows the term.
At some point, the effect might change.
Right. I mean, we have so many users that we can get exponentially more users a lot easier than like money speed can like decrease the value. No one uses these things for payment anyway. They just want the price to go up. So how do you build a coin that pumps? How do you build the fastest, hardest pumping coin that's ever been built? All right, let's think about it. Let's think about the pumpamentals. Let's dream them up, okay? What are coins that we've seen pumped? Bullshit partnerships, okay? We partnered with GE and fucking Bosch and Volkswagen and McDonald's and Microsoft, okay? Now, none of these people will pay a single fucking nickel for our service because it's not good enough to charge for. It's only just good enough to give away for free. And those little experiments will be like shut down after a year or two when they figure out this shit's the slowest, most expensive database ever. So why the fuck are we doing it? We don't need censorship resistance in our anything, right? So if you're doing blockchain, it's only good for censorship resistance. Other than that, it's the most expensive everything, the most expensive storage. You try and write, the blocks are full, you can't write. I don't give, like, they're just full. Sorry, you can't write. But nope, you can't write, sorry. Oh, you can write because the blocks are empty? Sometimes it takes a couple hours to find a block, and that's normal. That's normal. So I hope you didn't really need that data fast, motherfucker, because you're going to wait a while because the Poisson distribution makes these things on the tail ends happen, an hour or two. And then sometimes like one after the other in a second, funny as that is. So like blockchains are only good for one thing, censorship resistance. So, okay, we know fake partnerships pump, right? We know transactions per second pumps. New, totally ultra scalable thing. No one's got any fucking adoption, but we need more throughput. We need more throughput. Dogecoin doesn't get hacked and works just fine and does more transactions a second than Bitcoin Cash and has a funny looking little dog logo. So why not just fucking use that? So I'm not into I will promote the higher transactions per second of my coin because it's a free, we're better than you. But in reality, I don't really give a fuck about that, right? This is a store of value. And if you're going to lock up your coin for 50 years, 20 years, 5 years, 10 days, do you need to ever send another transaction? No, you can't. Your coin's locked. The whole concept of this coin is to get everyone to lock their coins up to drive the price through the fucking moon. That's the idea behind it, right? That's how real companies work. When you start a real company and you're the founder and you get these millions of dollars in investment, they give you a term sheet. And that term sheet has a lockup system in it. And the lockup system means you don't get to dump before anybody else. You get to dump last, Mr. Founder Guy. So everyone else that puts money in is going to get paid before your ass. Or we're just not going to give you your money. And if everything goes wrong, okay, and there's a bankruptcy, we get paid first, okay, because we came up with the cash, and you get paid last, right? So in the real world, where all the real value comes from, when you look around your house and you go, yeah, I like that thing, and I like that thing, and I like that thing, and where'd all those things come from? Big ass companies that had to put millions of dollars into infrastructure. If you knew how expensive it was to build a keycap, you'd be surprised. Well, I got to get an injection molding machine, it's 200 grand. I got to get a mold for that keycap, it's 30 grand. And then I got to get a mold for just the font of the letter on that keycap, maybe that's 8 grand, right? And then I hope I get a big enough run to afford a guy sitting there while the plastic's still hot to run the fucking thing. Shit's expensive, right? So the stock market, companies, they're based around people seeing a future value in the future and pricing it in today, right? Amazon's been losing money for how long? YouTube's been losing money for how long, right? Giant, badass companies that are taking over the world have been losing money for how long? Because they don't give a fuck about today's money. They give a fuck about tomorrow's money. So they're more than happy to lose $1 today if they make $2 next year. It's an excellent deal for them. Tesla lost money for how long, right? And now they have the safest, quickest car that's ever been made on multiple tiers, right? So like if you care about quick and you care about safe and you maybe care about the environment, maybe, depending.
Maybe.
They're winning on some fucking points here, dudes. They're winning. You like a nice user interface? You got a 17-inch flat screen in your car? Ha ha ha. No? Okay. I used to run a car stereo store. I used to install giant screens in people's dashes. It is not easy to put a giant screen in somebody's dash. There's air vents in the way. There's control modules in the way that you can't move, right? The car kicks ass. So my point is, all of these things pump in price because so many people are willing to put in money now with the expectation of future value. So in BitcoinHEX, if you get in early, you can make hundreds of percent, thousands of percent. If not that many other people did what you did. So let me explain this. In Bitcoin, you got 4.16% inflation, right? That only given to the miners. And the miners only receive it if they have giant multi-million-dollar electric bills and giant multi-million-dollar hardware bills and giant multi-million-dollar fucking hosting, right, for PoE efficiency, and you don't want to spend that much on backup power supplies when you don't need backup power for miners. Just let them turn off if the power turns off. You don't need cooling; they run hot. All that shit. If you want to make money mining Bitcoin, you buy your Bitcoin miner and you pray to God not that many other people did, because if you get your miner when they did, the hash rate jumps up and you don't make any money.
Yeah.
It just cancels you out.
Yeah.
And when you buy your miner, you don't know when it will come. You don't know how strong it'll be. You don't know how energy efficient it'll be. You don't know how badass the competition is, right? Like a Japanese GMO miner went out of business. A lot of miners fucking went out of business. If you tried to make money on Bitcoin by buying a mining machine, you done fucked up, boy. Now, I told you a million times not to do that, because you could look through history and see people that bought coins have always done better than people that have bought mining hardware, because the coins start appreciating today. But the mining hardware only starts appreciating one day when you get it, and after it has mined a really long ass time. So you'll spend 600 coins to buy 200 of coins in the first quarter, 100 coins in the next quarter, 50 coins in the next quarter. You might never get your fucking coins back. You might never make your 200 coins back, right? Which is why these companies are going out of business. If these companies had a viable business whatsoever, they wouldn't even have to sell. They could just mine themselves. They have the lowest cost basis in the world. They buy their own machines cheaper than you could ever possibly buy their machines from them, right? They buy their own machines from themselves at zero margin. They can't even make that work, right? Chinese people in China with the cheapest labor in the universe, actually Vietnam's pretty cheap now, and the cheapest electricity that you can find. And even some side deals with, the guy that runs the power company, gives you the power for fucking free, and doesn't even knows. You just steal it, right? You just get in there. Right? If it's not being metered, if you're before the meter, who's going to know, right? Those guys can't even make money doing that shit. So I have a better idea. Instead of having a coin where the only new coins are giving to people who get wrecked every 3 or 4 years by buying miners near the top and being fucking ultra destroyed in these 2 or 3 year cycles, why don't we just give the money to the people that hold? What's more valuable? The people that hold and don't dump their coins and make the price go up, or the people that dump fucking constantly and destroy the environment and power the people that create the dissension in the community, right? All of the fucking toxicity, half of it has come from people in that little arena there, right? Segwit 2x, malicious fork, death spiral, steal all the miners, brand theft, all that bullshit, right? Like I'm named BitcoinHEX. I'm happy to change it. I'm happy to change it today. It's the only reason I have it now is because I couldn't find anything fucking better, right? This is what I've got now. I've tried to make it Strape, no one liked it. Tried to make it Trustless Interest, nobody liked it. Tried to make it Hex Trust, nobody likes it. Hopefully I'll find something that people like better, because I plan to be worth more than Bitcoin one day. And it's going to be a lot easier to do that if I don't have Bitcoin in the name, right? So I would love to rebrand. There is some upside to keeping Bitcoin in the name now, because the only people that can claim are Bitcoin holders. So as long as that's the case, as long as this free money is only given to Bitcoin holders and people that stake, right? You can stake coins that you bought from somebody else, but the only coins that exist were given to Bitcoin holders, pretty much. So why don't we pay holders instead of miners? Why don't we inflate the currency for the people that hold instead of for the assholes? Because trustlessness is cheap now. Trustlessness is cheap now. I get trustlessness for free as fuck from Ethereum. because some other people are already paying out their ass to mine it and keep it secure and have 600 devs working on it. Sweet. I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to arbitrage it. You guys want to work for free? You want to give me really cheap trustlessness? You want to give me the most secure system? I'm going to take advantage of that shit. And in return, you guys are actually going to get some users on your dApps. You're actually going to get your blockchain will have some fucking utility. BitcoinHEX will be the first utility Ethereum's had, except maybe CryptoKitties or maybe, I don't know, the MakerDAO or some shit.
Yeah,
right?
MakerDAO would be, yeah.
So
Okay,
how much money are you going to make? How much money are you going to make?
So I have.
That's what matters, right?
So, yeah, I mean, and I want to make money. So
Yeah.
I got some Bitcoin. Okay, so let's say I sign up. Okay, I go through the process we described earlier. Sign the special message that claim my BitcoinHEX.
Yep.
Go through MetaMask.
Yep.
Get on the smart contract, and then now what?
You're going to get 1 million Bitcoin. We're going to get 1 million BitcoinHEX for every Bitcoin you had. Plus, because you get in early, you get in the first week, you're going to get 20%. That falls off 2%.
This is the first one.
Yeah. If you get in the first week, you're getting a 20% bonus on your stack. And if you cheat the system and self-refer yourself, you get another 5%. Or you could refer other people.
Before you start throwing numbers, I get confused with numbers.
Yeah.
What's the total supply?
It's a function of how many people claim and when they claim.
Okay.
So we inflate the currency to pay all these bonuses. If more people adopt these bonuses and get in early, the currency is going to have a higher supply. And because it has this higher supply and it has more users, they cancel out. You got more users. You got more demand. You got a higher market price. So the higher supply gets canceled out. You're going to see that ebb and flow in the design of the system. You're going to see a lot of those checks and balances, right? So I can tell you that the base rate without bonuses for 1 Bitcoin is 1 million BitcoinHEX.
Gotcha.
If you get in the first week, it's 20% more. If you get in the 25th week, it's 10% more. If you get in the last week, it's almost nothing. All claims end at 50 weeks. You cannot claim anything after 50 weeks. If you don't claim in the first week, so now I've given you the carrot. Okay, the carrot is you're going to get a 20% bonus if you get in the first week. That's part of your carrot. Here's your stick. If you don't get in the first week, you lose 2% of your stack, and it gets given to people who weren't you. Satoshi doesn't claim first week. He loses 2% of his coins, which are 5% of the whole supply, right?
Yeah.
You don't get in until week 10, man, you're missing 20% of your stack. You should have fucking got in early, huh? And guess what? The people that did get in early, they're the guys that got your stack, right? So now we've got FOMO, okay? You get in early, you get all the slowpoke stacks. You tell people about the system, more people claim, they claim larger amounts, you'll get less of that we are all Satoshi reward, but you'll get more of the critical mass and virality reward, which amplify the inflation to the early people because they did the good job of telling everyone else, hey, get in here, get in here, get in here. Let's go. Let's make this thing work, right? So I had to invent something to counteract that, hey, let's keep this stealthy, right? So there was once an airdrop that I got in on, which was good tech, centralized, but good tech. And they would give you coins that weren't claimed. So I didn't tell nobody about it. I kept it a secret. Project went to shit. Still has pretty good tech, but the price fucking straight died, right? No hope for that project. Just no one cares, right?
Right.
I was like, well, they had really good tech. Everything else is centralized bullshit. No one seems to penalize projects for that. So I know it sucks, but no one else does. So that shouldn't hurt the price. So like, where did they fuck up? They fucked up by making the incentives so that people had a reason to keep the shit secret. And then the whole project failed, right? So I counteracted it with critical mass, virality, and referrals. Okay, you want to keep it a secret because you want to try and game one part of the game theory? Someone else is going to get your referral because they're going to tell your friend about it before you did. You want to take that risk? No, you don't want to take that risk.
How does the referral work? How do I get my referral?
It's so fucking easy. It's so easy. Okay. It's so easy that I have to make it look hard. I'm proud of this. I'm proud of so many things in the system. You go to, the claim tool is not up yet. We only have the private testnet up. When we make the public testnet, which hopefully is in like 3 or 4 weeks, hopefully, we'll release public testnet when we lock the code and send it for audit. And then maybe the auditors find bugs, maybe the public testnet finds bugs, we fix them. Or maybe our internal testing was so good there aren't any bugs. They're both possibilities. Because we know what we're doing as far as security goes. And I'm very proud of my team, and I've cycled through a lot of people that weren't that good to get these guys. So in where were we? We're in the bonus section, right? We're talking about how much money you make, I think.
Referral.
Yeah. You literally just paste your fucking Ethereum address at the end of the URL, and you don't it could be any Ethereum address. It doesn't matter who. That's all you have to do. You don't have to sign up for shit. You don't have to put your email address anywhere. You don't have to fill out a form. You don't have to do anything. You literally just put bitcoinhex.com/claim/your address, something along those lines. Now, here's this weird little game theory thing. Okay, there's a lot of this stuff going on in the system that you could spend a couple of years in college studying this game theory. Maybe you would figure it out. It's awesome. I don't fully understand it. It would take me a long time to fully understand what I built. It's so much checks and balances. So I'm going to let you self-refer yourself, because I can't stop you from doing that, because you could just make another Ethereum address. And since I have no concept of identity, it's anonymous. I don't know who you are. You could just self-refer yourself from a new address. So why don't I make it less likely that you lose funds and just let you self-refer from your own same address, right? But now you've got the risk that people, when they're honestly referred, fuck over the honest referrers because they discovered that they can just overwrite their own codes with their own address. So now there's a question. Do I brag about how easy it is to refer people because you can just paste your Ethereum address at the end, any Ethereum address that you have control over, which will help people just pump these links everywhere. You'll see these links everywhere. Why? People like free money. I shill affiliate links all the fucking time. I like free money, baby. I got rich on affiliate links. I retired in 2003 on affiliate programs. I fucking like them, right? So I know these links are going to be everywhere. And if other people aren't sending them, I would like the extra 5%. I'll promote my own fucking ref link for this system. Why not? Free money, right? But if I let everyone know that it's easy to promote, some people that would have honestly paid the referrer that referred them will cheat and self-refer themselves. So what I'm doing is I'm making it so that if you go into the system and generate your own referral code, because you're not in my chat forums, you don't know about the Easter eggs, right? You're just kind of like on the outsides, you're not on the inside circle, then it's going to generate you a code that's not obviously an Ethereum address. It'll be an encoded Ethereum address. Anyone that's smart will be able to unencode it very easily. I think it's like base 58 encoding. So if you generate your referral link from inside the system, it's going to be harder for you to know that you could have self-referred. So it's harder for you to fuck over the person that honestly referred you. However, if you're an expert user and you would have been able to figure out how to self-refer yourself from your own external referrer anyway by having 2 Ethereum addresses, then we're just going to allow you to put your own Ethereum address in. So I'm unaware of any other affiliate program that works like that, where you can just be like, yeah, I'm an affiliate instantly, because when I sent you the link, I just pasted my Ethereum address at the end. That's fucking awesome. That's really good.
Yeah.
I've never participated in an affiliate program that would be so easy to sign up on.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you make 5% a stack, and and that 5% gets paid out of inflation. He gets his full stack, right? So if a guy claims the first week of Bitcoin, he gets 1.2 billion or 1.2 million BitcoinHEX, and you get 5% of that increased size stack. So as a referrer, as an affiliate, you want to refer people earlier so they get larger bonuses, so you get paid more, right? So I've got the carrot. You get in early, you're going to get the money from the people that got in late. You get in early, you're not going to lose part of your stack to the people that got in early. You get in early, you're going to be able to lock your funds. Now here's where the real money comes in. So the 20% sounded nice. The 5% sounded nice. Now I'm going to start talking about the hundreds of percent. This will up your stack multiples, okay? Getting that 5% referral is not going to up your stack a multiple. Getting in the first week is not going to up your stack a multiple. Here's what will up your stack a multiple. In this system, the value is brought by the people that hold. And in this system, we don't hold like masternodes, right? So there's masternodes. We talked about pumpamentals, right? What are the pumpamentals? Masternodes are pumpamental. There's a minimum fee. You got to buy in. You're going to get so rich. Okay, they lock up all the coins. Now there's no supply. Price goes up. Okay, pumpamental. Got it. Lock that one in, okay? So what's the difference between our system and a masternode? And a masternode, if you don't like how things are going, you can just unlock your coins and sell them and get out. Can't do that in BitcoinHEX. You lock up your coins in BitcoinHEX, you're fucking stuck in there, baby, and you better keep saying nice things about that project because you can't sell. You can't sell unless you want to pay the emergency withdrawal fee. and it's heavy.
Okay.
See? So if you get extra bonus shares for locking up longer, every extra year you lock up, you get 20% more shares, which reduces other people's payouts of the share pool, right? So in Bitcoin mining, they pay the inflation to the people that mine, right? So if there's $4 million of revenue that day, that gets divided by all the people that mined in a distribution, right? In this system, if there's $4 million of interest, right? It's less interest than Bitcoin, but there's still similar interest, right? Bitcoin's 4.16, this is 3.69. That's going to go to the pool. But what's the difference? The difference is you could be the only guy in the pool, and then you're making infinite money. Or you could be just only 10% of people lock up their coins, and then they're making 10 times 3.69%. Plus anybody that withdrawed early and had to pay the withdrawal fee, which is about half of the interest you would have earned. Now you can screw up. If you make a 50-year stake, right, which would pay you 10x the shares you would get if you just made a 10-day stake, you're taking a huge chunk out of that share pool and reducing everyone else's payouts. So you better serve half of what you said you would. You better serve half your time. If you serve half your time, you're not going to get hit out of your principal. But if you don't serve half your time, you're going to get hit in your principal. You can nuke your account. If you lock for 50 years and then you unlock 10 minutes later, you'll zero your account out.
Right.
So if you say, I'm going to lock these coins for this long, you better do half or you're going to lose some money. If you do half, you'll break even. But if you stay, you'll make a lot of money, right?
Okay. So I have some questions. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say lock up the coins, you're talking about the BitcoinHEX.
Yep.
So I can still move my Bitcoins. My Bitcoin section.
Sure. As soon as you've claimed, you can sell your Bitcoins, man. In order to claim, you need to own Bitcoin for one block, the block height. That's it, right? So you only need to own for that single block, and you could dump and never ever touch Bitcoin ever again.
What if I grab, let's say, a Bitcoin and then I claim them, wait a block, move them to the new users and claim again?
You said you'd grab a Bitcoin, you claim it, and then what?
And then I claim it. So I have one Bitcoin. I claim my BitcoinHEX, wait a block, move the Bitcoin to a new address, and then claim again.
Won't work. So when the smart contract runs the claim function, it writes your address to Boolean true, like claimed. And then when you would try and do the same thing again, right, at a new address with another signature, your coins wouldn't be at the same address it used to be because the blocks have moved. So when you have a snapshot, like if I have an Excel spreadsheet that says Juan gets $10, right, and then you come to me and I give you the $10, I mark I gave it to you. And I don't give a fuck what you do after. As long as it says you got paid, you ain't getting paid again. It's that easy, right? So we just keep a log.
So there's a chance that, let's say,
in the blockchain, there's a log of everyone that has claimed and how much they claimed and when they claimed and what bonuses they got paid. And it's immutable in the blockchain forever. So you can audit. There was no bullshit hidden inflation going to some magic, whatever. It all adds up.
So basically, you have to any Bitcoin that get claimed, you have to look at like a certain depth. You have to go back in history and say, okay, have this coins been claimed before?
Well, I mean, it doesn't involve time, right? So the UTXO set. So Ethereum and Bitcoin are different. In Ethereum, they don't use UTXO. They just use something simpler called addresses, right? And your single address holds all your balances, right? In Bitcoin, we tried to do some anonymity shit, which didn't really work, right? People still reuse addresses, and that you're never supposed to do that. So in Bitcoin, we use UTXO, which is basically just like your balance, but spread over a lot of little payments, right? So like this little UTXO is worth this much, and this little UTXO is worth that much, and I paid you, and then I got my change back to my change address, and now that one's worth that much, and then all those little UTXOs add up to what is actually Bitcoin. There's no actual thing called a fucking Bitcoin. Bitcoin is actually just what the added up totals of all your UTXOs are. And that's what your balance shows in your wallet. And that's what you can spend, right? They're unspent transaction outputs. So what we do is we just take a snapshot of that system and we go, okay, look, here's everybody that's got money. Cool. And we take the whales and we go, okay, you have over 1,000 coins. You're getting nuked for half your stack. You should have been listening. You have over 10,000 coins. You're getting nuked for 75% of your stack. You should have been listening. Now you don't get to dump on us, okay? Mt. Gox trustee, right? Mt. Gox failed company, screwed everybody over. That trustee dumped all his free Bitcoin cash. Now, what did the Mt. Gox trustee do to earn him some Bitcoin cash? Nothing. So if you make a fork or a new project and you reward bad actors or people that don't deserve rewarding, your project should fail. If you start a fork coin and allow Satoshi to come back from the dead 15 years later and dump on you, you're stupid. It was unnecessary to have that risk sitting there. So in our system, over 50 weeks, all the freeloaders are gone. There's no more freeloaders. There's no Mt. Gox. There's no seized government coins where I can find them. There's no the 2 Iranian dudes that unfortunately got screwed and had their names put on the like, you can't do business with these guys list. Sorry guys, you're fucked. Go get new addresses. What else? The guys I mentioned that have done harm to Bitcoin, they're out, right? And that's it. So people submit their claims. It's all trustless. It's no human interaction. There's no oracles. There's like 100% verifiable, maximally secure, everything accounted for to the penny. You can't double claim. You can't like, all this shit's figured out. Like it's way easier. It's literally as easy as I said. If you claim, we mark that it was claimed, and then that's it. It will never pass true, because when it looks up the address, it goes, yeah, this address has a field right there that says it's already fucking claimed.
Right.
So let me tell you about. Go ahead.
Locally?
Go ahead.
Can I like download let's say a copy of Bitcoin and then?
Yes, that's the whole idea. You have to be able to check our work. I have to check my devs' work to make sure they didn't fucking rob me, right? So if I say, hey devs, I want you to remove these dudes, and they go, sure, but actually we just took that dude's and put it on mine. Ha. I got to be able to detect that, right? This is about trustlessness. So what we have is we have the snapshot, which is here was the balances that we started with. Here's the ones we got rid of, right? And then we mush them into a Merkle tree, which is a fancy way to let you prove that you had a member of that Merkle tree, right? It's hard to explain. If you want to look up Merkle trees, it's neat.
Yeah.
It's just a way for you to prove that your shit was in there, and it's a proof. It's a mathematical proof that something was in a thing, and it just saves us a lot of data storage. If blockchains were better, I could literally just be like, yo, I'm snapshotting everyone's balance and I'm sending everyone money with just straight up transactions. But you can't do it. You would fill up all the blocks. So if you want to actually do an airdrop at scale like we're doing, you have to use one of these fancy cryptographic tricks to save money on data storage and to save money on processing and transaction fees, right? Because if it's costing me 30 cents to send a transaction, and I've got to send 5 million of them, well, I've got to spend a third of $5 million to do that. That sucks. And everyone else in the network's fucked because I just filled up all the blocks and no one can transact anymore. So this Merkle tree system of allowing trustless claims is really innovative and provable, trustless, fast, efficient. You know, it's why Bitcoin uses it. Bitcoin is a blockchain, which really just means a big ass Merkle tree. That's all it is. It's a hash of hashes. And that's all Merkle tree is. It's a hash of hash of hash of hash of hash down a fucking row. Take two things, hash them. Take two things, hash them. Hash those things together. Hash those things together. That's all Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is just a whole shitload of hashes in a row. And we're using the same system to do our claims. So you want to hear about the hundreds of percent? You've heard about the 20%. You've heard about the 5%. Go ahead.
Okay, so I get in and then I get my BitcoinHEX, and then now something interesting is that, like, okay, when does it start? When does the countdown start? You said 4 weeks to go public, more or less, right?
So here, I'll give you the very specific order of operations. We have the code in private testnet, and we're still catching bugs, right? Off by one errors, software's hard, right? And the tools that we have to troubleshoot Solidity contract aren't that great. So we've actually had to transpile the Solidity code into C and C-like languages in order to have good debugging tools to know at what line a failure has occurred, right? If you just make a Solidity contract and you run it and it fails, it doesn't tell you why it's failed. You have to write more code at every single line to try and catch that failure manually yourself, because the debugging ecosystem sucks so much ass. it was easier for us to transpile into superior languages with better ecosystems. Solidity really isn't a good language at all. The Ethereum EVM isn't that good. They're improving it as we speak. They just made bitwise rotation operations 10 times cheaper. Or bitwise shift operations. I kept saying rotation earlier. I'm sorry. They're different, I think. So so now that we've got and found those bugs and caught those bugs and got more and more of the functions working right, at some point they just all run right. Okay. So now we can claim, we can unclaim. There's other features like, so in Ethereum, you can't program it to wake you up at 10 a.m. It doesn't work. There is no automatic in Ethereum. You have to ask it to do work for you every single time you ever want it to do anything, which means that the Ethereum blockchain on its own is 100% useless. You have to have another real computer asking it to do shit based on the logic you programmed that computer to do. Okay. Right. So if I want to keep a balance, if I want to pay you the interest that you're deserved, I can't. It's impossible. Someone has to ask for you to be paid and pay for that computation to occur. Okay. So what happens if you stake your coins and get a big fat bonus? You get a bunch of bonus shares. Let's say you stake a year, right? Instead of 10 days, minimum 10 days. Let's say you stake for a year, you get an extra 20% shares. Now you're making 20%.
Staking just means starting trend.
Yep.
It's saying I will not move my coins for X amount of time, but I can move them. It's a promise.
Nope.
I can move them.
Nope.
I cannot move them.
You have moved them. You have moved them to the same smart contract that created them. You move them back. Every single Bitcoin hex that exists is created by the smart contract that has a single address and UBI code in Ethereum. Mm-hmm. That is the constructor which executes that game theory and has the ability to mint, through the mint function, new tokens. It is programmed to inflate the staker reward pool about 0.1% every 10 days, which equals about 3.69%, well, actually, without rounding, exactly 3.69% every 360 days, which is 36 10-day periods, right? So if you go to 365 days, the inflation is slightly higher than 3.69 because it's half of another period. We chose a smaller one. Basically, the longer... Go ahead.
You should make charts because you lost me. I'm not that good at fast math.
Yeah, my bad.
Some charts will go along with it. It's all right. It's all good.
So in Bitcoin, the miners make 4% a year of the whole currency through inflation. In BitcoinHEX, the stakers make almost 4% of the year of inflation on the whole currency. The miners buy mining hardware and electricity. The stakers just got coins for free or bought them. They don't burn electricity. They don't have depreciating hardware. They just stake, right? So,
okay. So I stake my coins. So I stake 1 Bitcoin worth of BitcoinHEX, which is a million BitcoinHEX.
And first week, 1.2 million. If you sell for free, yourself 5% more. Yeah.
Okay. And so I say I'm gonna stake them for, what's the total period of the game? Like, is it forever or like?
Well, there's 2 phases. There's the claim phase when we've got to give away all these new coins, right? Look, we just created many billions, millions and millions. I think it's a trillion. We just created trillions of these new tokens. And we want to give them out fairly to people that deserve them by proving that they're holders because they hold the best cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Great, right? They have the most wallets. They have a lot of good things going on with Bitcoin. A lot of bad things, a lot of good things. I still hold fucking Bitcoin. So if now you claim, now you get this new thing. You can get rid of your Bitcoin if you want to. You can hold it. I don't care what you do with it. It's your coins, right? Now you get this new thing, right? Lower fees, higher throughput. You get paid to hold instead of mine. You want to hold. Why do you want to hold? Why do you want to hold? Only holders, only stakers get paid interest. Only stakers get all those Satoshi, we are all Satoshi redistributed coins, which, I mean, how much a percentage of the whole Bitcoin system can I get to claim? Half? Okay, well then we got to redistribute half of those coins. We got to double everybody's stacks.
Yeah.
And that's only given to the people who staked, right? So if I have to double everyone's stack, like So let's say I get half of all Bitcoin people to claim, right? And it's actually less than that, because if you use multisig, you can't claim. If you use pay to script hash, like old SegWit, compatibility mode SegWit, you can't claim. You can't do it. It's technically not feasible. Maybe in 10 years in Ethereum, you might be able to do it. Someone can write a magic contract that can understand Bitcoin script. Today ain't that day. So there's only 12.5 million coins that can claim currently, after the whale penalties and after the addresses that just technically can't claim. There's only 12.5 million coins that can claim. So let's say we want to get that number back up to the nice 21 for optics, right? Looks good, right? It's Bitcoin, 21's the thing. Let's inflate that shit back up. All right, well, how are we going to get back up there? Well, we'll redistribute all the coins that weren't claimed, right? Okay, but that doesn't raise the number up. Well, how are we going to get the number up? By amplifying rewards to people that got in early, with bonuses that fall off over time, with redistributions that fall off over time, but that doesn't really inflate, right? With affiliate program income, where you can self-refer, that inflates to another 5%. And with inflation itself. But that one's very small in the first 50 weeks. So the amount of money you're going to make through the inflation of 3.69% of the currency is going to be almost nothing compared to the mad gains you're going to get from getting the rewards from virality, which amplifies your Satoshi rewards, critical mass, which amplifies your Satoshi rewards. That's just how many people claim and how big do they claim. Viral is how many people, mass is how much weight, how many coins did they claim, right? More people claim, larger amounts, amplifies the inflation for all the people that got in early. It takes all those rounds that they're getting paid out for and multiplies them by 10% each. Okay. So you get a 10% up mod for critical, you get a 10% up mod for virality. So if you get in early, like I tried to do this math. Half of Bitcoin's claim, that's like 6 million Bitcoins, we'll call it. 6 million to 17, it's really like a third, but it's half of the people that could claim, right? So let's say we get 6 million coins to claim. And let's say half of those people stake. Now there's 3 million coins in the staker pool. Those 3 million coins in the staker pool are going to get something like 30%. So like the whole pool, if only 10% of people stake, then they're getting 10 times the inflation rate each. So let's say we have cookies, right? We have a jar of cookies. There's 10 fucking cookies, right? And I say, listen, you guys that go stand over here, okay, you're going to get 4 new cookies every year, okay, if you stand over there, right? And there's 10 people, there's 10 cookies, and 4 people go stand over there. Or in this, we said half, right? So 5 people go stand over there. And we've got to go give the 4 cookies to them, right? How much was their return? 5 people started out with 1 cookie, right? And they just got an extra cookie each, right? They just got 4 new cookies divided by 5 people, almost a whole cookie. They started with 1 cookie, now they have 2 cookies. They doubled their money for locking up for a year. Mm-hmm. But they did that with only 4 new cookies. Well, that would be 40% interest. So the point is that if you're the only guy staking, you're going to make huge multiples of your money.
Yeah, I get it.
If you're not the only guy staking and other people stake, right, you're going to get paid less because they're joining that pool with you. If they stake longer than you, you're going to get paid less because they have more shares than you because they stake longer, right? So if you stake longer, you get paid more. Well, what happens when there's no supply on the market? You're getting paid less inflation, but the value of the coins is higher because there's no supply. Okay. They bounce.
Okay, so that's the claim phase. So there's a phase when people are claiming.
Yeah.
And then there's be a bunch of coins that can't be claimed. So let's say that the claiming period starts, and then Roger Ver is like, oh fuck, I want to play, and then he moves coins. Is like, no, those coins are blacklisted, can't play. And then maybe he sells them, somebody buys them, they try to claim it. Sorry,
they'll never exist. His coins physically can't exist because they were never in the UTXO set. But let me tell you the truth. I've been looking and I haven't found his address. So if I can't find his address, he's going to be able to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Right.
And I can't take weak evidence, right? Like I'm not going to fuck over some honest person because there's a rumor that if these guys are smart and do their finances well, I know who Mt. Gox's coins are because it's in court documents. I know who C's coins are because they're in court documents. But for rumors and shit, I'm not really about fucking over innocent people on a rumor. Like I'd rather let Roger claim and maybe he'll go psycho and promote my shit like he promoted his shit. Who knows?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So let's say the empty Gox guys, right? So they try to those coins can't claim. So
So here's what will
so
happen.
there's
He'll sign his wallet. Mt. Gox guy will install MetaMask, and he'll go to bitcoinhex.com/claim, which isn't up yet, but it will be when the time comes. And he'll go, yo, I want to claim, and it'll be like, cool, copy paste your Ethereum address, which we're going to show you here because it's in your MetaMask wallet. We know what it is. Here's your Ethereum address. Copy that into your Bitcoin wallet, sign it, copy the result back here, and click submit. And he would copy it, and he would paste it, and he would click submit, and that shit would go fail. And it would go like invalid. Why? Because it looked up all the balances of the UTXOs, and his address wasn't there. So
right.
it wasn't set to like fail his address and then I have to keep a record of all of them. That would take more bloat. I would have to store more data on the blockchain. If it never existed in the first place, I don't have to pay to store that data on the blockchain. And that's the most expensive operation you can do in a blockchain is store data. It's cheaper to process data than it is to store it.
So at some point, all or most of the coins that can be claimed will be claimed.
At 50 weeks, it's fucking over.
At 50 weeks, at 50 weeks is over.
Yeah.
Okay, so at 50 weeks, we have a set amount of coins that actually exist in Bitcoin.
Yep.
And then there's the time lock period. So the time that you commit the coins, and then but there's I can sell at some point to take a hit, right?
Right. So here's how that works.
Okay.
I modeled how the real normal CDs. This concept exists in the real world. It probably is the most popular banking product that's not a checking account or a savings account. I think, and I wasn't able to find data on this. I'm writing the white paper. I will find data on it. I believe that the CD is the third most popular kind of like bank account product, right? I'm not calling like a credit card that you spend money. That's not really storing money. That's a different product, right? A banking product that involves storing money. I think the time deposit, the certificate of deposit that is probably most common at 2 years. You can get 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year, all that stuff. They all penalize you when you withdraw your money early. They penalize you half the interest you were going to make. So we just adopted that, right? And then if you go really long, if you go like 10 years, they give you a discount. They don't take half the interest you're going to make. They take like 25% the interest you're going to make, right? Now, here's a reason that we couldn't perfectly copy their system. They knew how much interest you were going to make because it's deterministic. The number's set in the beginning and it just keeps running. We don't know how much money you're going to make in BitcoinHEX because we don't know how many other people are going to compete against you to stake their coins. So just like you didn't know how many people will be putting on hash rate, you don't know how many people are going to be adding coins to the pool to lock up their shares, right? And you don't know how long you're going to be doing it for. So when I estimate how much you're going to get paid out, the only data I have to estimate that is how many shares are in the pool right now and how many shares are likely to come out of the pool because they've expired, which would increase your payouts. So you're going to see a giant number for your payout estimate that is the most accurate number that we can come up with. But it's very likely, I hope, if the project's successful, that a lot of other people join that staker pool after you and reduce your payouts because they also locked up their coins, right? So you've got what's kind of like a dark pattern, but it's unavoidable. You see a giant return in the beginning, and you don't know how many more people are going to come in after you. It's the same thing as Bitcoin mining. You buy a Bitcoin miner, you pay a lot of money, you hope it shows up one day, you hope it didn't mine testing it and earn all the money. You hope it's not a weak lake and lose half your gains. And then you hope that not everyone else did the same thing you did and fucked up your gains, right? But here's the problem. In our system, when more people join that pool and lock up their coins, that's better for you because the fucking price goes up because they can't sell what's locked. In mining, when the difficulty goes up, everyone has to sell more coins because it takes more electricity to generate the same number of tokens. So in Bitcoin, when more people mine, it hurts the price. In our system, when more people stake, it helps the price. It's fucking amazing. It's so good.
Okay. And who's gonna buy the coins? Let's say that I stake for 5 weeks. Well, before we get
10-day minimum. There are multiples of 10 days.
Is there like can I see if I could read the code or if some tools gets built? Can I see
it's open source. You can read it right now.
People are staking?
Yes, you can see everything.
Yeah.
You can see absolutely everything. So
That's
what we
great.
did was
there's gonna be some numbers, some
oh,
charts.
there's gonna be some. Let me tell you what makes crypto pump. Okay, I know so fucking much about crypto. It hurts me, and I've got a unique perspective that allows me to outperform other people in speculation and in design. Okay, and I'm going to share some of these secrets with you. All right, I shared dark patterns with you a little bit. Not that many people know about this. If you're not a designer, you probably don't know about dark patterns. Okay, You may know about gotcha capitalism, which is very similar, right? So when you're promising people giant returns up front, and it is the best estimate you can give them, you do give them a disclaimer. Look, if more people join this pool, your payouts are going down. I can't tell if more people are going to join. I can't fucking help you. You got to use your own guess, right? And we show you the chart, and you can put your own numbers. Here, you can guess. Okay, you want to pretend more people are joining? Okay, the numbers go down, right? What makes crypto interesting is proof by complexity, okay? There's no adoption, but the price went from 0 to 20,000. How did that happen? Because the dream of the future, the dream, this shit is going to take over the world. Yeah, we got no adoption today. We got no adoption for 10 fucking years, but it's going to take over the world. And the funny thing is it actually might, right? You just need one killer app. You get one killer app, you will take over the fucking world. The Clash of Clans people that have 100 million users a day, they were a failing ass company for the fucking 10 games they made before that game. And it just took that one game that they got right that made them beyond multi-billionaires, right? So Bitcoin and crypto is very close to that. One of these things will eventually get fucking traction and be gigantic, right? Maybe it's Hex. I think it can be. I don't know of any other system that has better game theory. And if all these things do is store value and have trustlessness, which barely even gets tested, unless you're Bitcoin Gold or Ethereum Classic, or, a couple other ones, Aurora Coin, unless you're those, unless you're those guys, or Byte, even coins that get hacked, the price doesn't even go down. Fucking Bytecoin was inflation bugged, and no one cared. It's like, oh my god. So if it's really just trustlessness, and it's game theory, this game theory is the fucking best. Lockups that you can't end. Masternode, you can unlock when you want. This, you can't get out, buddy. You're in. Unless you want to give half of your money to the people that were honest and stayed staked. That's the fee. And it's actually half of the half, right? So if you unstake early, you lose half of the interest you would have got, and a quarter of that goes into the staker pool. Mm-hmm. So if a lot of people stake, you get paid less, but the market price goes up because there's no supply. If few people stake, you get paid fucking massive. If you stake longer, you get paid more. And you get all those rewards in the beginning. For the first 50 weeks, you get all the redistributions, you get the critical mass bonus, you get the virality bonus. Those only go to stakers. Now, after the 50 weeks is over, those bonuses all go away. There's no more referral program. There's no more speed bonus, getting in early. There's no more losing your coins for not doing something, which is like, the 2% decay every week. Like, oh, you got in at week 25, you lost half your stack. You should have been here earlier. We gave that to the people that were listening, right? What other bonuses are there? Referral, crit mass, virality, speed bonus. Those are all gone. What's left, the only game theory that's left after week 50 is 3.69% interest every 36 periods, which is 360 days, which is paid only to the staker pool. If half of people stake, that's 7 point whatever percent interest. It's 3.69 times 2. If 10% of people stake, it's 3.69 times 10, right? If you stake longer, you get more shares, and that comes out of the pocket of the people that stayed less long. So there's a war for staking longer, right? There's a battle for staking longer. If there's a battle for getting in earlier, and there's a battle for being honest about how you'll stake. So you remember I told you Ethereum can't do anything on its own? But you could take like a long ass stake that got a lot of extra shares and then expired, but wasn't being paid because it's expired, but it still got shares in the system. Someone has to go update that system. So we made a function called good accounting. Now listen to the game theory on this. This is fucking, I have no idea how this is going to work out. Okay. I know that in order for the system to work well, I need good accounting. I know that the system is too shitty to actually act like a computer and do anything on its own. Because welcome to blockchains, okay? So someone has to pay this thing to do the math to remove your expired shares from the fucking system, okay? So how can I get that done? How can I get good performance out of this fucking blockchain, okay? It's worse than my cell phone in so many ways, but it's trustless. And that's what we need. How can I get that performance out? I got to get the game theory right. So I'm going to create another carrot and another stick, okay? If you don't remove your expired stake from the staker pool, and you continue to leave your shares there and fuck over the payouts of everybody else that's getting paid less because your shares are still sitting there, even though you're not even getting paid for them because it's expired. If you don't, within 2 weeks, take your shares out of there, you're going to lose 1% of your stack every week. Heavy hit. Okay?
Okay,
Now,
wait. So it's period. There's a period where you gotta withdraw. You gotta move
when
it.
your stake is expired, you got to pull your shares out of there. Now, you don't have to take delivery. You don't have to end your stake. So that's for taxes, right? Okay, you don't want to take delivery for some fucking reason. Divorce shit going on. I don't know what's going on in your life, but if you don't want to take delivery, you don't have to, okay? You can run the good accounting function, or anyone else can run it for you. Now, here's the thing. I don't know what's going to happen because there's some interesting game theory here. The pool of stakers would make a lot of money when you fuck up and don't pull your stake out. They would be very happy to see you lose 1% of your entire stack every 10 days after 2 weeks. I have to check whether it's 7 days or 10 days. I think it's every 7 days. The penalty is 2 period delay, 20-day delay. And then I have to look whether it's 7 or 10 when it keeps iterating that 1%. I think it's every week, every 7 days. Half of that money that's lost goes to the staker pool. They'd like to get paid that extra money because instead of just getting interest, now they're getting, you fucked up and said you were going to stake longer than you did. Oh, life hit you hard. You need your money out. You can't partially unstake. You can't sell coins that are staked. You know why you can't sell a coin that's staked? Because no one trusts that you deleted your private keys. If people could trust that you deleted your private keys, you could stake and just be like, yo, man, here's my stake. Buy it from me. But you can't prove you deleted your private keys, which pushes up the value of the coins that are still in market. I could have made it a different way. I could have made it so that you could trade staked coins, but that would have driven down the value of the unstaked coins. And this whole game is about getting the price to go up higher and faster and longer through superior game theory. Crypto's game theory plus trustlessness, right? You're going to be getting hundreds of percent, thousands of percent, or if we're super, super adopted and everything's going great, tens of percent. And instead of destroying the environment to do it, we're just leaving your money locked up in the same contract that invented it. And you don't have to leave a wallet online like a masternode. It just does it automatically. You can go to jail, right? And if you go to jail and your coins are locked up and you're worried like, oh, fuck, man, I got to pull my coins out or I'm going to start losing 1% every 7 days, you can call anyone in the world and say, yo, here's my Ethereum address. Can you please run the good accounting function for me, please? So the good accounting function and the claim function, anyone in the world can run them for you. You don't have to run them yourself. The start stake function, you got to run yourself.
They don't have to have your private keys. They don't have
right,
to have your keys.
Right, exactly. So I've explained to you the game theory. I don't know how it's going to work out. I give you the carrot and the stick. Okay, the stick is you don't pull your shares out and start the accounting to be right so everyone gets paid what they're supposed to get paid and your dead shares are just in there reducing people's payouts and underinflating the currency. We're going to hurt your stack a percent after a 2-week leniency or 2-period leniency. I got to check every 7 days. But there could be some guy that's just a nice guy that just every 2 weeks cleans everyone's stakes and runs the accounting function and pays the fee to do it. It might not even cost $20. So if one person in the whole world wants to pay like $20 every 2 weeks to make sure no one ever gets fucked over like that, that's an option. Someone could do that. Or they could be like, maybe I'll let that guy get nuked and get a quarter of his stack. Right? I don't know how it's going to work out. I do know that it's the best game theory that I could come up with that makes it interesting, engaging, repetitively engaging. You're going to be watching how many people are staking and unstaking. You're going to be watching the graph to see when those shares are coming out or coming off stake, right? You're going to see how many referral payouts we're getting out there. That complexity, that game theory that makes us so intriguing, so hard to understand, to the realm of impossible to understand, is why people will be more engaged. Just like it's fucking impossible to figure out whether buying mining equipment's a good idea or not. It took me years to figure out that it was a terrible fucking idea. And I'm a pretty smart dude. It took me years to figure that shit out. I lost hundreds of coins buying fucking mining hardware that never produced a coin. Not very happy about that, right? So that same proof by complexity, stickiness, consistent engagement, FOMO, get in early, carrot and stick, it's everywhere in the system. It's in the referrals. It's in the claiming. Yeah. It's in the URL to the referrals. It's in the good accounting. Do you let the guy get nuked and get some of his money? Or do you clear his dead shares out and get paid more fairly with his dead shares not slowing down the inflation and slowing down the staker pool. So fucking interesting, the checks and balances. It's really awesome. Like, I love it. Now, I'll give you some disclaimers. All right? Because we made a lot of big claims here, right? 1,000x, 100x, these are big numbers. All this shit could go terribly wrong. Everything could go to zero, okay? We could miss a bug, it could go to zero. Ethereum miners could just be like, yo, fuck that contract. We're just never going to mine a block with it. I think I could fix that by just starting at my own miners, but then we'd have a fork or whatever. So let's talk about how this shit could all go wrong, okay? One, if you are the one, so I'm going to tell you why this isn't a security, okay? A security in the United States is as follows, based on the Howey test. Did you pay money into a common pool with the expectation of profit from the work of others? Okay? Did you pay money into a common pool with the expectation of profit from the work of others? If you did those four things, you are a security, and you need to register, and you need to do a lot of shit that crypto people don't particularly like be an accredited investor, or file a public offering with an S1, or do a Reg A Plus that has a 50 million max, or I could give you a long list of every funding mechanism out there, right? Because I was going to do that shit. It was just too fucking hard. I'm like, man, that's fucking hard. Let's see if we can do something amazing that gets to market without so many years passing. Launching an ERC20 token has been insanely hard. If I had done my other project, the CFD token, which is a useful proof of work project, I can't imagine how many years that would take. Like, or just more and more devs and more managers. Like, it would be exponentially harder. It's been this hard to do just a token with some game theory. Extremely, extremely hard. So how do you avoid being a security? Well, you can't buy these tokens. They're not for sale. You can only get them for free. So there ain't no giving me money. Sorry, I won't take your money. Like, you can get the tokens for free or go buy them from someone else.
Rich or hard, but I can sell them to other people at some
Sure,
point.
you can do whatever you want. Yeah, right. So, I'm the founder of the project, right? I came up with most of the game theory. I'm out here marketing it. I'm out here making claims. And I need you to understand this is designed to not be a security so that you don't have the protections that a security would give you, right? You're not going to have the government holding your hand and being like, yo, here's the conflicts of interest and here's all that stuff that they do to protect the investors. You're not going to get that stuff because it's not a security, right? So you should still watch your ass, read the code, have the smartest person you know read the code, understand what it does, because you're the running the code. I am not running code for you. You are running the code. You are paying someone else to do computation on your behalf that only you could do because you're the one with the private key. No one else has it. So if you fuck this up or you get fucked in the system, it is solely your fault because it is open source, the code is readable, the code is auditable, and you're the one running it, right? So could Ethereum stop working? Yes. Could SHA-256 hashing stop working? Yes. We don't actually use that, I don't think. Maybe we use it somewhere, but mostly Ethereum's kickhack 256, which is like a different hash function, which is a terrible name. Kickhack. What a terrible name. If we have a nuclear war and all the electricity goes off, your blocks ain't getting mined. If, we're at the edge of computer science here. Shit can go wrong. Don't invest more than you're willing to lose. You got this thing for free. If the price goes up really high and you FOMO the top and the price oscillates and, you have to sell the bottom, you're going to lose money. Hopefully it won't oscillate. Hopefully there's enough market makers in there to eat up the oscillations and sell enough to be able to hedge out the bottoms, right? So they sell a little on the way up, then that reduces the volatility because it can act as a cushion underneath. And you'd like speculators to be able to get in on a 45-degree or a hockey stick that's very easy for them to long because it has low volatility and it's not knocking all their stops out. That would be ideal, right? So if you want to appeal to speculators, all you have is your bullshit fundamentals, which good traders stop trading. After you've been trading crypto for a while, you're like, fundamentals, I don't give a fuck. Oh, it got hacked? Watch the price go up. Oh, they fucking got a deal? That's the news? Dump it. Oh, they're on CME now? Biggest market in the world? Dump it. Oh, fuck. I thought that was good news. I thought that new buyers would be like, good. Nah, dude.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Buy the rumor, sell the news, unless it's a bear market, and then you sell the rumor, buy the news. And the numbers are weird, like I told you earlier. It's easier to make money long than short, a lot easier. Unless you're in a bear market, then it's hard both ways. So you care about the shape of the chart. You care about the stickiness, getting people addicted to this shit. Yo, how many people are staking now? How much am I going to get paid? Do I got to restake? Dude, am I going to start getting that penalty if I don't withdraw in 2 weeks? Man, if I'm only staking once every 10 days, I better interact with the system once every 2 weeks or I'm going to start getting nuked. Or maybe I'll just stake longer and then I don't have to fuck with it. And I'll get all those free bonus shares. Right? It's so fucking good. The only pumpamental that I can think of that's not in here, fake bullshit partnerships. Don't have any of those. Maybe, see, remember how I told you the Howey test? I'm not taking your money. I'm also not promising you work. I promise you absolutely no work whatsoever. I will do nothing for you. That is what I promise you. If this shit goes up in price, it was because it was well designed and it's unchangeable. I can't fix it. I can't help it. It is what it is. It's designed to be fucking awesome, just like a collector's plate. I can sell you a collector's plate, tell you they're likely to go up in price. It ain't a security. I can sell you this token that's designed awesome. If you want it to get listed on exchange, call them up. I'm not promising you shit. Now, an intelligent person would be like, Richard, he's working real hard on this. Maybe he'll do something. Yeah, maybe I will, but I'm not promising anything, right? Because of the Howey test. So, or maybe, I don't know, maybe my workout, maybe my barbell just like crushes my head or something. I don't use barbells. Or I do use barbells. I don't use dumbbells. I show people my workouts because I'm like lifting heavy every day. And I do the bench with no spotter. And everyone's like, you're going to die. You're going to die. And you're like, you guys are ignoring these 1,000-pound rated steel bars that are higher than my chest. I couldn't possibly kill myself if I wanted to. Like, I would have to shoot myself in the head while under the bar with a gun. So in this system, review the smart contract, know the code that you're running, understand blockchains are fucking hard. We have a better shot than anybody else does. The game theory's right. The trustless is right. The timing's right. You know, we got 50 weeks to fuck around and chop in this little bear market crap till we go to all-time highs again. Let's get rid of all the freeloaders, right? Let's launch at the bear market at the bottom, right? So when people buy their coins, if they hold on to them and don't redump them, they're likely to at least profit on the coins that they bought, their BTC, right? And those freeloaders, right? Like, hey, let's say I can't find Jihan. I can't find his coins. I don't know where they are right now. I'll give it a good look. I might not be able to find them. If I can't find them, would you rather have Jihan dump on you now at the bottom of the bear market, a very small amount? Or would you rather enrich that guy that does not deserve the money, right? He deserves negative money. That's what he deserves. Would you rather he dump on you at the top, right? Let's get rid of all the freeloaders, get through our 50 weeks, get everyone locked up, and like, I can't think of anything else to add to this. I could have made a minimum price to stake. I could have made a minimum of number of coins to stake like masternodes do. But here's the problem with that. Or I could have given tokens to Ethereum holders. Same problem. You have to have a trusted oracle that's a central point of failure to set the ratio. So what is the ratio of the price between a Bitcoin and Ethereum to fairly give the people that invested in those things? And whoever sets that ratio can fuck with the price and unfairly reward one party or the other, right? Like, what is the price of Bitcoin? Well, it depends on where you're buying it. Are you buying it on Finex? Are you buying it on Kraken? Are you buying it on MEX, which is just a contract that you're going to settle in fiat later with a Quanto? Right? You don't know what the actual price of Bitcoin is. It also is a function of how much volume you're doing. The price changes. It gets worse the bigger volume you do. So you can't have a trustless oracle that will tell you honestly the ratio of Bitcoin to Ethereum. So I had to choose whether I was going to give this to Bitcoin holders or Ethereum holders. I choose Bitcoin holders. I've been a Bitcoin maximalist for so long. It's got a lot of good things going for it still. What's the other reason I couldn't do the minimum like lockup coin amount? Well, what do you set the price at? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
and then as the price goes up, they just become super duper unaffordable, and it's like an oligarchy, and then only the rich can get richer, right? So fuck that. Like, this system kills whales in the beginning, right? Hey, whale, you didn't help me build this. You didn't help me promote this. You weren't here when all my fans were here. You weren't here helping me design the game theory. I reached out to everybody. I reached out on Twitter, and I reached out on Stripe for every part of this thing. Hey guys, what should the inflation rate be? Hey guys, how often should the the lockups like rotate, right? Short, long. I asked everybody about every part of this because I wanted to get it right. You know, hey guys, who shouldn't be able to claim, right? Who are the bad guys out there? I got to tell you, the world's pretty empty on fucking advice. I received very, very little assistance and very, very little help in the design. And I don't know whether it's people don't care or they don't like there's a new guy on the block that's going to make an impact and then their bags will seem less exciting, right? Because when I go to top 3, someone's got to come out. Someone's got to come down, right? Well, you know, those are the guys that aren't happy to see. Why other people are talking about crypto, I'm fucking building it, right? First certificate of deposit blockchain product on the internet. First thing that pays you more for locking it longer. First thing I'm aware of that when you lock up, you can't just unlock whenever you want. Those are innovations that have never existed before in blockchain that I'm aware of. And they're fucking powerful. Paying, like, this thing's going to go to the fucking moon is my opinion. We'll see. As soon as my developers finish building, so we can test, please. Yeah, you wouldn't expect you'd have to redo everything over, right? You're like, oh, well, the tool that we built in Java, we had a tool in JavaScript that handled people's claims when they submitted them, but the UTXO set got so large that it ran over the memory buffers in Node.js, and it's unpatchable and unfixable. So now you have to literally write the whole thing in another software or figure out a way to shard through the memory buffers. Every single part of it has been super complicated, right? You're like, all right, we're gonna use Open Zeppelin because it's audited and trustworthy and everyone uses it, and it does safe math, so we're not gonna have negative numbers. It just, anytime something tries to go negative, it just zeroes it out, and it handles buffer overflows for when numbers have changed size and shit. Fabulous. But then you have huge gas problems because it treats every number as an unsigned integer 256 bit, and we don't need them that large. So now it's just wasting space, right? So then my coder's like, yo, let's use the right sized integers. We're going to save money on fees and gas. And I'm like, dude, but yeah, we're going to save money on fees and gas, but the gas is so cheap right now. Like, how many days are we going to be delayed because of this optimization, right? This is right. Donald Knuth saying that premature optimization is the root of all evil, or something to that effect.
Fascinating.
Yeah, when you start building crypto instead of just fucking talking about it, and, you know, I bought my bag and left it on Coinbase, so please make me rich, someone working hard. I'm actually doing the hard work. And most of this shit's so hard that it's almost ununderstandable. Like, when you ask me what the supply will be, well, let me tell you what the supply will be. I don't know how many people will refer themselves. I don't know how many people will refer other people. I don't know how many people will claim, when they'll claim. I don't know how many people will stake. I don't know how many people will emergency end stake. So now, in order for me to give you a range of guesses, I have to permute, if not an infinite number of variables, a large number of variables across each one of those user behaviors, and then time warp them in the future, and then try and guess how those future values would affect user decisions in the future past that. I could have built like 4 cryptocurrencies with different features in the same time it would take to figure out how this one's going to work out. And that's part of the appeal. Part of the appeal is finding out how it works out. That's the stickiness. That's the mining calculator. When you go to the mining hardware and all these people bought mining equipment, all of those people bought mining equipment because they went to a mining calculator and weren't smart enough to put the right numbers in there to figure out that it was a terrible idea. And then so many people did it and fell for it that it became a more terrible idea because they all had to compete for the same pool, right? So in this system, if everyone overestimates the value and they see giant numbers and they all lock up, that's better for all of them, right? It's the opposite of the dark pattern in mining, where it fucks everyone that overestimated. In this system, it's like, oh, I locked up forever and everyone else locked up forever. So one day we're all gonna do really good, right?
Okay. So the last question that I have is, after the claim period, after all the bonuses and all that stuff, let's say I want to sell. At some point, I'm going to want to sell because like the point is to make money. So why would people buy it after the bonuses? Oh, well, the insurance rate, right? The insurance. The insurance
so there's three profit. Right? There's 3 profit centers. So first, if you wanted to be more safe in the way that you're earning profit from the system, then you can do what people do with CDs. and it's called laddering. And you use multiple lockup lengths so that some portion of your stack is coming out of lockup, right?
Gotcha.
And you don't, on your early amounts that you can, you want to speculate, you think price going up, price going down, you want to time the market. Okay, you can do that with your 10-day things, right? On your longer ones, so it's just like, so Tony Robbins has a system called the 3-bucket system, right? High growth, low growth, dream. Dream is like, hey, let's make this money worth something. Okay, we got money, great. Do we want to care about money? Then every once in a while, you actually have to buy something nice. Otherwise, you're not gonna care about it the way that you should, right? Like if you watch Bitcoin go to 20K and you didn't sell anything, and then you watched all your paper gains disappear, you feel like a real asshole. And then if you do that a couple cycles, as I've done, you feel like a giant asshole, right? You're like, man, like sell the top if you can, right? Or like Gavin Anderson did, he just sells a little bit all the way up, so he says. So you can use a CD ladder like normal people do in the real world with normal CDs. So Bitcoin tried to remove trusted middlemen, and it failed because it turns out that those trusted middlemen are worth more than the founder of Bitcoin. Coinbase, as a Bitcoin seller, a retailer, has extracted more US dollars of profit out of the Bitcoin project than Satoshi has, even if Satoshi sold his fucking coins, right? Because the exchanges. So if you want to make money on your Bitcoin right now, you got to send it to an exchange, let them lend it out for you, hope they give you your profit back, and hope they give you your principal back, and hope they don't get hacked in the meantime, which is a lot of hope because they're not insured. Cold wallet, insured. Hot wallet, not insured, right? If they can even get the cold wallet insured. And the government doesn't give a fuck about your insurance, right? If you get shut down for fraud, like I don't think, if BTCE was insured, I don't think they got paid, right? Because when you're in jail and you don't have any money to defend yourself, you also don't have any money to hire a lawyer for your company to try and sue the insurance company usually, right? It's in like receivership, like by the government. The government's not like, oh, well, they're not that friendly. So my point is, if crypto and Bitcoin was invented to get rid of centralized, risky, margin charging, little rent-seeking middlemen, it has failed to get rid of them. It has created more of them, okay? Bitcoin has generated billions of dollars of money and revenue for fucking middlemen because of KYC and AML. Coinbase is allowed to charge you out the ass and make tons and tons of money on you. But since I'd like to get listed on Coinbase, I love you. I love you guys. You're the best. But they're making billions of dollars by being a middleman and doing the opposite of what crypto is meant to do. They're reducing your security. They're reducing your anonymity. They're giving you less choice. They're giving you more risk. And for that, what are you receiving in return? You get to be lazy. You don't have to handle your own keys. Or maybe you could like speculate a little quicker because you don't have to wait blocks to like send your coins if you want to dump them or whatever. And I'm not even sure what percentage of the Coinbase market is really speculative. The GDAX market, which is a related company, is more speculative. Same owners. So my point is, I lost my point. I go so deep in these things. So so Bitcoin was meant to get rid of trusted third parties and increase security and increase personal sovereignty and reduce the amount of screwing that these middlemen get to do. And it hasn't been able to do that because there's certain very important financial functions that currency does not have. Currency is not a CD. Currency does not bear interest. You see? If you want to earn interest on your Bitcoin, you have to send it somewhere, let them rent it out to people that want to short the price, hope they pay you your interest back, hope they don't get hacked. That's a lot of hope for a very low return. I have a better idea for you. Why don't you just send your coins to the smart contract that made them in the first place, lock them up, and then get mad gains with no counterparty risk, trustless interest. Bitcoin can't do that. For you to make interest on Bitcoin, you got to take a lot of risk. You got to give your money to someone that's not you, right? You got to loan your coins to someone else and hope they pay you back. Please pay me back. In this system, the smart contract will pay you back and will always be able to pay you back because it invented the coin in the first place.
Do you see this kind of system?
Go ahead.
Becoming like is there potential for something like this to become a lending market or something like that?
I was thinking, I can't share this idea with you. I was thinking about a way. Can I don't want someone to beat me to market with my own idea. How can I give you parts of
Yeah.
this without letting you make money on it?
Just hire me when you're gonna do it. We'll
Well,
make some money.
I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a clue. I'll keep the 80% of the profit secret to myself, but I'll give you the 20%. So if you wanted to be able to sell a staked token, then you could do like an open dime. You familiar with the open dime product? Hey, puppy.
Yeah, it's like a hardware coin type of thing.
Hey, puppy. My puppy's hungry, so now you guys are good to meet her. Come here, pup.
Cool.
Come here. This is my puppy pup. It's the size
You
of a
would
rat.
have a dog like that.
Yeah, it's not my first choice. A Schutzen level 3 trained dog that only speaks German and jumps through fire and ignores gunshots and will rotate from biting one arm to the balls to the other arm on command is what I would ideally choose. But a girl I knew had this, and so now I have this. So
I
it
think
is
it's
the
perfect.
best.
Just hold it and now go like this. Go like.
Oh, the mini me, like the 1 trillion Bitcoin hex. The only way that you could, so you're still going to want to borrow these coins if you want to short them, right? So the staking of the tokens will lock up supply and lock it up in a way superior to any other system where it's on a schedule. You know when those coins are coming off supply. You do not know when someone's going to dump their Bitcoin. You do not know when someone's going to dump their masternode. In BitcoinHEX, you know when they're able to dump because you see their expiration date. And you know they don't want to get hit on the principal doing it earlier than half of that date. And they don't want to lose their mad gains they waited so long for by doing it after the half date, right? That's when they're getting into their sweet, super sweet profit zone. So if you're going to have a more predictable supply in this system because you've got better intelligence to show when coins will become available on the market, because any coin that's not likely to hit the market would obviously by a rational actor be staked, right? So let's think in the beginning. If this doesn't list on exchange on week 1, wouldn't you rather be staked than just sitting and not getting gains, right? So you've got to guess, okay, how many other people are going to stake? When are they going to unstake to maybe dump? When is it going to hit exchange? Good luck, homie. Good luck figuring that out, because I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know the optimal way to make optimal profit on the system yet. I hope that through the testing, I can see some really cool charts that can maybe allow me to see some cool pattern that says, all right, maybe this is the ideal way to like ladder a stake, right? I'm not sure whether it's profitable for me to tell anyone what that ideal way is. It's probably not, because then they'd front run you if you were ever going to sell anything, right? Like, so you'd never want anyone to know. Like, you're trying to buy up all the houses on a block. You don't tell anyone, because the last guy is going to charge you an unimaginable amount, right? So it seems like staggered stakes makes a good idea. Maybe spreading your stakes across different addresses seems like a good idea, although I don't know how well anonymity works on Ethereum. I don't think it works that well. What are some other good ideas? Yeah, like, so you asked about lending market. You're going to need to borrow these coins to short the market, right? So if we list on FinX, which I hope we do, right? I hope we list on all the big exchanges, because that is the most useful to the users, in my opinion, unless one of them turns out to be evil, and then we wouldn't want to list on them. But I don't think any of them is evil today. Like Kraken, FinX, Coinbase, GDAX, Polo, Trex, Binance, maybe Cryptopia, maybe Hitbit. Haven't heard great things about them lately, but hey, it's the user's problem, right? Like if you have the opportunity, it's like what I told you about that it's something's true and false at the same time. So a good exchange could be good early. Like Hitbit was the first exchange to actually let you sell your Bitcoin Cash and open a market for it before anyone else. And then a public market. There was a private market that opened on Trex. If you already had Bitcoin there, they would have credited you your Bitcoin Cash and you could dump there early without even having to do a transaction to send the coins. Puppy, I can't feed you. I'm doing work right now, baby. You got to wait.
Nobody says nice cat.
Poor dog. I want to feed her. So if you want to short the coins, you're going to need to borrow them from somewhere, right? Or have a fake market that's just like cash settled, which I prefer not to see, because then it just creates extra volatility which is unnecessary. If you want to see why naked shorting sucks, you can watch Robert Byrne from Overstock. He runs a website called not Dark Capital, but Captured Regulation or Captured Regulatory or something. Puppy, I can't feed you. Come back here. Quit barking. He doesn't care. He just ran off. All right. So naked shorting isn't that great, right? Like if you look at the price chart and you look at EX, 3.33x margin. On MEX, you can short 100x, right? So with the same stack, you can create 30, you can make an order 30 times larger, which makes the volatility much larger. I haven't decided, I haven't decided whether listing on MEX would be good or bad. I don't know.
But all the shorts have to be matched by longs, right? No. Even if you have
kind of. So there's different kinds of shorts and longs, right? So in the futures market, every short has a corresponding long, but on a market where you actually have to borrow coins to short, you run out of coins to borrow, and people can still keep longing, and you can't defend yourself with shorts anymore because you've run out of coins to borrow. So in a cash settled product, shorts always equal longs. Puppy, I can't feed you, I swear to God. Hold on a second.
Yeah, go feed him. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I use a quick
A
break.
buddy of mine says that we're offline. Let me check. I mean, our stream's good, so we shouldn't be offline. Someone's in chat saying that the website that Robert Byrne started is called Deep Capture. It has to do with the regulatory capture of equity settlement and naked shorting in the United States and certain parties that are a little unclean. I want to make sure that we're online. So everyone's telling me to take a break. You pussies. You pussies. I'll do an 8-hour stream. I don't need to drink, pee, nothing. I've done it.
I actually got to go do some errands too, but I'm down for another one whenever, dude.
All right. Oh, they said we came back online. Well, look,
Okay.
I'll summarize the project for you. We're supposed to get around to OPSEC on how to protect your coins. It's going to have to be another one, I guess. He has a product that he sells that teaches you that stuff.
Yeah.
From the front page of the site, it looked nice. You want to shill it? Go ahead.
Yeah. So I started this workshop. I mean, I've been doing this for 3-4 years with private clients, and for myself, paranoid as fuck, because I'm paranoid. And basically, I put it together into a workshop, and I'm going to do the first of this version of the workshop at an Acapulco. That's mid-February this year in Mexico, Acapulco, Mexico. Biggest anarcho-capitalist conference in the world. They got Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Doug Casey, and a bunch of other celebritarians.
Celebritarians. Never heard that before. That's new.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's hilarious. And I mean,
Jeffrey Tucker,
I don't even know.
celebritarian number one.
Jeffrey Tucker's gonna be there. Oh yeah. Jeffrey Tucker's gonna be there.
I want to debate
So
him.
all the legends that are alive, dude. This is the place. That's where I debated Roger last year, and it was basically one of the best things I've done in crypto.
I thought it was very
fun.
good. Yeah, I thought it was very good.
Thanks,
It was nice to see actual OGs. Like, I'm usually the only Bitcoin OG when I go somewhere. It's like nice to meet a couple others. So weird.
It's so weird. I was the only guy defending Bitcoin there that year.
Yep.
There's been like
I'm still more than happy to defend Bitcoin. It is very easy to defend. It's also just very easy to attack. It's just like Ethereum. I know everything that sucks about it, and it's a lot. And I also know that it's the best for what I want to do. And I know Bitcoin sucks for a lot of reasons, and it's also the best for a lot of reasons. Like, that's why it sucks, because like, so if you're a trader, right, and you're in a room with a bunch of other traders and you're chatting, and you're like, here's why we could go long and get wrecked, or here's why we could go short and get wrecked. Everybody hates your perspective, because it hurts them more to hear how it can go wrong than the feeling of it going right. And then you just like, fuck, I'm going to stop sharing my perspectives, because I just basically make both sides hate me, right? So I feel that same way about talking about Ethereum versus Bitcoin. The Bitcoin maximalists hear me shit talking their baby, and then they don't hear the good things I say right after, right? And then the Ethereum guys, I don't know, maybe they're more friendly, to tell you the truth. I met a lot of EOS guys. I think it's a federated, not that censorship resistant coin, since they've already rolled back and taken people's coins by design.
Yeah.
Puppy. All right, I'm going to feed my dog. Yes, I swear to God, I'm going to feed you. Guys, go to BitcoinHEX.com. Put your email in there. It's never been emailed the list yet, but I'm actually going to email it soon. Go to t.me/strape, big chat room. t.me/BitcoinHEX. We got a cool bunch of GIFs. Awesome looking, best shill kit out there. We're working on it. t.me/BitcoinHEX memes. Go on my Twitter, 55K followers, something around there, or 50.6. It's Richard Hart Win on Twitter. YouTube, Richard Hart. Juan is Juan S. Galt, right?
Yeah, and you can find my workshop at byob.info. No, wait. byobank.info. byobank.info. So, yeah, Juan Galt. If you're going to come to Acapulco, you want to hear what I got to teach.
Yeah. You guys are going to make higher percentage gains on something you got for free than anything you paid for. That's how percentages work, right? It works out to like infinite percent when you get something free, right? Don't turn down free money in a bear market. You will regret it.
Yeah.
The biggest cryptos that are in the top 10 now have given away free money to Bitcoin holders. If you didn't accept it, you were a dumbass and you should feel bad. Lumens, top 10, gave away free money to Bitcoin holders. Ripple, top 10, gave away free money to Bitcoin holders. Bitcoin Cash, still top 10. Unfortunately, it feels bad saying it.
I know.
Gave away free money to Bitcoin holders. If you took my advice and sold it at 19% of a Bitcoin a year ago, when I wrote you a guide on how to do it safely using a free virtual machine, so their shitty little wallet couldn't steal your keys and your coins if it was a bad wallet, right? I wrote you that guide on how to sell at 19%. Now you have the option of selling in between 2 and 5%.
What the fuck? Even Bitcoin is V's in top 10. Just can't believe that shit.
Yeah. It's good talking to you,
Fundamental
Juan.
shit.
I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry that I fucking ran my mouth so much, but I'm really passionate about this project. And I rarely get the opportunity to like talk about it so deeply. Like this was a deep dive.
Yeah, it was deep dive.
I told you all the things I don't understand. That's as deep as I can go.
Yeah.
Good talking to you.
I had a
man.
great time, dude. Anytime, dude. Yeah.
Pleasure,
Yeah,
bro.
that's awesome. Are you gonna come to Acapulco maybe?
I gotta stay
Maybe.
building, man. I gotta stay digitally
hear-
engaged. I can't get up from the chair really. Like I got time to do bench and chin ups every day, and then I sit on the bike and I
Yeah, it's
try
nice
and
to
pedal
stay
it, but
pushed.
when you start thinking real deep, sometimes the pedals stop moving and your just calves hurt. It's better than nothing,
Right on, dude.
Talk
Yeah,
to
it's
you later,
time to
bro.
work. It's time to hustle, man. Yeah, take care, dude.
Ciao, man.